Phoenix Nights. Chapter 3285. In the boundless seabed of the Black Demon Sea, the entire deep heaven city was in an uproar. The two supreme existences of ancestor level actually attacked an outsider at the same time. This was absolutely unprecedented in the history of Deep Heaven City. Something like this had never happened in Deep Heaven City before. It must be known that ancestor-level existences were synonymous with invincibility in Deep Heaven City. They were superior and terrifying existences that dominated everything. Normally, it was impossible to even see the figures of ancestor-level beings, let alone see an ancestor in action. But now, not only did the Heavenly Corpse ancestor, who had always been indifferent to worldly affairs, attack, even the other ancestor of Deep Heaven City, Ancestor Wu Shang, attacked. The reason why the two ancestors attacked was actually very simple. It was because the outsider who suddenly broke into Deep Heaven City was too powerful. However, what made all living beings dumbfounded was that even the Heavenly Corpse ancestor, and Ancestor Wu Shang, seemed to be unable to suppress the outsider. Roar! The Heavenly Corpse ancestor kept roaring furiously, and a terrifying death aura erupted from his body. Within the monstrous death aura, there seemed to be countless hideous and terrifying figures vaguely appearing and struggling, like a group of demons dancing wildly, which made people's hearts palpitate. The bone spear in the Heavenly Corpse ancestor's hand was extremely powerful, and the power it displayed made the world lose its color. If the region where Deep Heaven City was located was not protected by the extreme formation, it would probably have been completely destroyed. The death light that rushed out from the bone spear directly pierced through the void, but the death light was blocked by the layer of divine light that enveloped the entire Deep Heaven City. The layer of divine light formed by the power of the extreme formation could not be broken so easily. Even the bone weapon in the Heavenly Corpse ancestor's hand could not do it. Ancestor Wu Shang was also extremely powerful. He did not use any Dao weapon, but he could fight endlessly with Gu Fei. Gu Fei was still extremely ferocious even though he was fighting 1 against 2. He held the black saber in his right hand and clashed with the Heavenly Corpse ancestor over a dozen times, almost sending the bone spear in the Heavenly Corpse ancestor's hand flying. As he repelled the Heavenly Corpse ancestor, Ancestor Wu Shang arrived, and a chaotic fist directly smashed towards his face. Violent energy waves erupted from the chaos fist. A single fist crushed the void of the world. The combat strength displayed could be said to be earth-shattering. Humph! Gu Fei sneered and also punched forward. Boom! Two incomparably powerful fists instantly collided with each other, bursting out a muffled thunder-like sound. An incomparably powerful energy fluctuation immediately spread out from the two. Ripples visible to the naked eye appeared in the void, then spread out in all directions like ripples on water. The two figures quickly separated. At the same time, the Heavenly Corpse old ancestor charged over again. 3 extremely powerful figures were engaged in an intense battle. Terrifying energy ripples spread in all directions, causing all the living beings who were watching the battle nearby to be extremely shocked. How is this possible? Even the 2 patriarchs couldn't take down this outsider? There were creatures that cried out in alarm. This scene was just too unbelievable. One has to know that those were 2 great ancestor-level existences. The consequences of fighting in Deep Heaven City were very serious. The Heavenly Corpse old ancestor and Ancestor Wu Shang were very clear about this. They wanted to force Gu Fei out together. However, things went beyond their expectations. The Heavenly Corpse old ancestor and Ancestor Wu Shang never expected this outsider's cultivation and combat strength to be so powerful. Rumble! The void shook, and the 3 experts rushed into the sky. They arrived in front of the light barrier that enveloped the entire Deep Heaven City. At this moment, the light barrier actually produced a heaven-devouring power. Gu Fei immediately flew over involuntarily, passing through the layer of divine light in an instant, and exiting the outside world. What? The sudden change caused Gu Fei's expression to change. There was an endless amount of seawater outside. A powerful energy fluctuation erupted from his body, repelling the surrounding seawater. Gu Fei's surroundings immediately turned into a huge waterless space. It appeared that someone had taken control of this city barrier formation and teleported him out of Deep Heaven City. Whoosh! Just as Gu Fei was shocked, a dazzling light of death broke through the divine light barrier and directly rushed out, stabbing at the center of Gu Fei's eyebrows. "Here you go!" Gu Fei bellowed, and a reversal force immediately rushed out from his body, reversing the direction of the light of death that was piercing towards him. Boom! With a loud bang, the light of death violently collided with the layer of divine light. It was unable to break through the divine light and directly exploded. The void collapsed and was annihilated. At the same time, two powerful figures directly rushed out from Deep Heaven City. "Outsider, die!" Ancestor Heavenly Corpse roared furiously and directly attacked Gu Fei. The bone spear in his hand radiated the most dazzling light of death and pierced towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei sneered, and the power of reversal surged out from his hands. The bone spear that was piercing towards him immediately changed direction and pierced towards Ancestor Wu Shang. At this moment, Ancestor Wu Shang also attacked Gu Fei. 5 chaotic light of death rushed out from his body and pierced towards Gu Fei. Every chaotic light of death pierced through the void. However, the 5 rays of chaotic death light changed their direction the moment they were about to pierce through Gu Fei's body. They shot towards the Heavenly Corpse Ancestor instead. What? Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Ancestor Wu Shang were shocked. This outsider could actually reverse their attacks and use their own attacks to attack others. This method was really quite frightening. It should be known that Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Ancestor Wu Shang were supreme existences at the ancestor level. They were only half a step away from extreme grade sovereign. How could the killer move of such existences be so easily reversed? Ancestor Heavenly Corpse hurriedly waved the bone spear in his hand and dispersed the 5 chaotic light of death. At the same time, Ancestor Wu Shang also blocked Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's attack. A corner of the chaotic aura around him was shaken off, and a blurry figure appeared. But very soon, the figure was enveloped by the chaotic aura again. At this moment, Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Ancestor Wu Shang no longer had any scruples. After leaving Deep Heaven City, they could fight to their heart's content. Rumble! The entire seabed boiled, and the earth quaked. Violent power shook the entire trench, and huge rocks and soil continuously fell from the top of the trench. The 3 figures quickly separated, and the powerful figures faced off. Although they were at the bottom of the sea, the power that erupted from the 3 experts still affected the surface of the sea. Chapter 3286. In the depths of the oceanic trench, outside Deep Heaven City, 3 experts were confronting each other. Every one of them was bursting with a monstrous aura. This was a battle between peak experts. The 3 extremely powerful auras kept colliding. The entire oceanic trench was shaking as if it would collapse at any time. Even through a layer of divine light, countless living beings in Deep Heaven City could still feel the powerful pressure from outside the protective formation. All of them were terrified. At this moment, Gu Fei was fighting 1 against 2, but he wasn't at a disadvantage in terms of aura. This shocked Old Ancestor Angel and Old Ancestor Wu Shang. Where did this guy come from? How could he be so powerful? Both Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Wu Shang felt great pressure from Gu Fei. They hadn't seen such an opponent for a long time. Lan Yuan isn't in Deep Heaven City. Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse suddenly transmitted his voice to Old Ancestor Wu Shang. What? Old Ancestor Wu Shang was stunned, but he immediately understood. Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse wanted to get Lan Yuan to join forces to take down this outsider. However, Lan Yuan hadn't appeared yet. Old Ancestor Lan Yuan should not be in Deep Heaven City. Otherwise, with their cultivation, they would naturally be able to sense Old Ancestor Lan Yuan's existence. How would I know? Old Ancestor Wu Shang said impatiently. The 3 old ancestors of Deep Heaven City joined forces to fight this outsider. They thought too highly of this outsider. However, it seemed that Old Ancestor Wu Shang knew that even if he joined forces with Heavenly Corpse, it would be difficult to take down this outsider. However, Old Ancestor Lan Yuan was not in Deep Heaven City. The three old ancestors couldn't join forces. The two of you are flirting with each other. Is there something going on between the two of you? Gu Fei looked at old ancestor Wu Shang and old ancestor Heavenly Corpse and suddenly said with a smile. What did you say? Old ancestor Heavenly Corpse and old ancestor Wu Shang were instantly enraged. Hee, pretend that I didn't say anything. Gu Fei smiled. Pretend that you didn't say anything. It's too late. Old ancestor Heavenly Corpse was really angry this time. This guy actually said that he had something going on with old ancestor Wu Shang. Boom! The Heavenly Corpse ancestor attacked furiously. As soon as he moved, the space where he was immediately exploded. A bone spear directly pierced towards the center of Gu Fei's eyebrows at an extremely fast speed. Can't I even talk about it? Could it be that there's really something going on between the two of you? Did I hit the nail on the head and you flew into a rage out of humiliation? Gu Fei used his extreme speed 8 steps as he spoke. Like a phantom, he dodged the bone spear and instantly appeared above Heavenly Corpse ancestor's head. Then, he stomped down on Heavenly Corpse ancestor's head. This was the 8-kill step of the 8 desolate steps. Gu Fei took the first step of the 8-kill step. In the next moment, the void under his feet collapsed, and a destructive power surged under his feet. As soon as Gu Fei's foot landed, the sound of wind and thunder immediately rang out. Roar! Heavenly Corpse ancestor roared angrily, and waved the bone spear in his hand to block. However, when Gu Fei's foot landed on the body of the bone spear, the violent power actually bent the spear, and it almost flew out of Heavenly Corpse ancestor's hand. Without any suspense, Heavenly Corpse ancestor was directly trampled down from the sky by Gu Fei's foot. With a boom, he smashed onto the Divine Light Shield of Deep Heaven City. The Divine Light Shield of Deep Heaven City immediately shook, and countless Tao patterns emerged on it. The ancient Tao patterns intertwined and formed an ancient Tao diagram, which counteracted the impact of Heavenly Corpse ancestor's attack. Just when Gu Fei was about to follow up with another attack, a chaotic divine chain came from the side. Gu Fei hurriedly took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void. The chaotic divine chains that were sweeping towards him immediately missed their target. This is... When Gu Fei saw the chaotic divine chain that came at him, his eyes immediately flashed with a bright light. This chaotic divine chain was not condensed from a killing art. It was a real chaotic divine chain. This was Ancestor Wu Shang's weapon. Clang! The sound of metal chains colliding could be heard. The chaotic divine chain in Ancestor Wu Shang's hand was like a spiritual snake, and it continued to entangle towards Gu Fei. The chaotic aura that emanated from the chaotic divine chain was extremely powerful. As the chaotic divine chain came at him, Gu Fei stretched out his right hand and actually grabbed one end of the chaotic divine chain. Then, he pulled fiercely, wanting to take the chaotic divine chain from Ancestor Wu Shang's hand. In the next moment, the chaotic divine chain was immediately pulled straight by the two experts. What? At this moment, Ancestor Wu Shang was indescribably shocked. His opponent's strength was extraordinary, and the chaotic divine chain in his hand was almost taken away. Let go of me! Gu Fei shouted. The hand that grabbed the chaotic divine chain exerted strength, and an even more powerful force exploded from his hand. He wanted to take the chaotic divine chain. Ancestor Wu Shang felt his hand shake, and the chaotic divine chain in his hand was actually pulled out by Gu Fei. His hand was instantly covered in blood. Not a bad chain. Gu Fei looked at the chaotic divine chain in his hand and nodded. You! Ancestor Wu Shang was really shocked. His chaotic divine chain had actually been taken away by his opponent. Such a thing had never happened before. At this moment, Ancestor Heavenly Corpse arrived again. He stirred up boundless death chi, and in just an instant, the death chi enveloped Gu Fei. Kill! Ancestor Heavenly Corpse attacked with a furious roar. In an instant, countless figures appeared in the death chi, as if there were countless fierce souls struggling and howling. Such a scene shocked all living beings who saw it. Swoosh! At this moment, a chaotic divine chain suddenly rushed out of the death chi, and instantly pierced through Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's chest, wrapping around Ancestor Heavenly Corpse. What? Ancestor Heavenly Corpse was shocked. In the next moment, his body was instantly wrapped tightly by the chaotic divine chain. Swoosh! Gu Fei instantly flashed past Ancestor Heavenly Corpse. Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's head fell from his neck, but there was no blood splattering. Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's head flew up, and 2 rays of crimson light immediately rushed out of his eyes, piercing towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei waved his hand and blocked the 2 rays of crimson light. At the same time, Ancestor Wu Shang attacked again. Rays of chaotic qi surged, and the chaotic light turned into countless chaotic divine chains, wrapping around Gu Fei. At this moment, Ancestor Wu Shang extended his hand, and the chaotic divine chain that wrapped around Ancestor Heavenly Corpse immediately flew back to him, and he grabbed it in his hand. Preposterous. Chapter 3287. Gu Fei felt his blood boiling as he faced the joint attack of the 2 old ancestors. It had been a long time since he had a good fight, and this was the perfect time to have a good fight. Clang! The chaotic divine chain produced the sound of metal colliding and rubbing. It instantly turned into a mountain ridge and entangled Gu Fei. Humph! Gu Fei sneered and slashed at the entangling chaotic divine chain. An extremely sharp saber light soared into the sky and instantly soared tens of thousands of feet. It was as if a peerless heavenly saber had appeared between heaven and earth, and ruthlessly slashed at the chaotic divine chain. The mountain-like chaotic divine chain was directly smashed away by Gu Fei's saber. The power of the extreme way spread in the depths of the Black Demon Sea. The entire trench began to crack, and the incomparably hard seabed rocks could not withstand the mighty power of the extreme way. Swoosh! An incomparably huge chaotic divine chain rushed out of the sea and into the sky. A powerful aura of the extreme way spread out, causing the entire world to tremble. The aura of the extreme way spread out in all directions and alarmed countless living beings on the surface of the Black Demon Sea. Although the 3 islands were very far apart, the powerful living beings on the islands could still sense the aura of the extreme way from the chaotic divine chain. The next moment, a huge hand broke through the surface of the sea and grabbed the chaotic divine chain, then pulled it back into the sea. However, in the next moment, the surface of the sea exploded, and a figure charged out from the sea. That person was holding a divine chain that was shrouded in chaotic aura. Roar! The entire surface of the sea exploded with a furious roar, and the terrifying sound waves caused the surrounding void to crack continuously. Rumble! At the same time, the endless seawater on the surface of the sea surged and rose into the sky. The monstrous seawater condensed into a huge hand that was much larger than a mountain and slapped at the figure in the sky. Damn it! The figure let out a furious roar. The chaotic divine chain in his hand clanged and straightened, piercing towards the huge hand that was condensed from seawater like a chaotic divine spear. Shwa! The primal chaos god chain directly pierced through the huge hand condensed from seawater. The primal chaos god chain trembled and an extremely strong force erupted from the primal chaos god chain. Boom! The huge black hand condensed from the seawater instantly exploded, and a large amount of black seawater instantly enveloped the entire sea surface. The moment the black hand exploded, a figure appeared behind the figure shrouded in chaotic qi. Bang! Kacha! Without any hesitation, Gu Fei slammed his palm onto old ancestor Wu Shang's back. A dull thud and the sound of bones breaking rang out at the same time. Old ancestor Wu Shang was sent flying by Gu Fei's palm. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his spine was instantly broken into a dozen pieces. Just as Gu Fei sent old ancestor Wu Shang flying, a light of death instantly pierced the space between his eyebrows. He tilted his head, and the light of death brushed past his forehead. A few strands of hair floated down from the air. Preposterous! Gu Fei was furious. The heavenly corpse old ancestor was really despicable. He always attacked unexpectedly, and Gu Fei had almost been hit a few times. It was the same this time. Come out! Gu Fei extended his hand and grabbed towards the sea surface below. The chaotic hand instantly appeared in the void, and the entire sea surface immediately collapsed. A huge palm print immediately appeared on the sea surface. A powerful force rippled down from Gu Fei's chaotic hand. In the next moment, the sea surface that was enveloped by the chaotic hand exploded. A figure holding a bone spear charged out of the sea. The bone spear in his hand shot out beams of destructive light, shattering the void and breaking through Gu Fei's chaotic hand. With just one step, he had already arrived high in the sky. 3 powerful figures appeared on the sea surface. In the dim world, pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the void from time to time. This was caused by the powerful coercion released by the 3 experts. Under the influence of the momentum that erupted from their bodies, the void between the 3 experts became very unstable. A terrifying aura spread out from the 3 experts, and no one could suppress the other. The 3 experts were confronting each other. They were Gu Fei and the others who had fought from the depths of the sea to the sea surface. It had to be said that the Heavenly Corp's old ancestor was really awesome. His head had been chopped off by Gu Fei, but he could still recover, which made Gu Fei feel incredible. The Heavenly Corp's old ancestor was an ancient corpse that had fallen in the Black Demon Sea for an unknown period of time. It had developed spiritual intelligence, and then cultivated, so its physical body was extremely strong. However, no matter how strong one's physical body was, it could not withstand an attack from a peerless fierce saber, unless it was an extreme supreme great path form. Outsider, you surprise me too much. The Heavenly Corp's old ancestor stared at Gu Fei and said coldly. In the depths of his eyes there was a strange bloody light, which made people's hearts palpitate. Humph, you also surprise me, Gu Fei said. The Heavenly Corp's old ancestor's physical body actually contained a trace of immortal divinity, and because of this, the Heavenly Corp's old ancestor could still reattach his head after being chopped by the peerless fierce saber. All right, Heavenly Corpse, why are you still talking so much nonsense with this guy? Get rid of this guy quickly, or we will all be buried with him when the storm comes. Old Ancestor Wushang said impatiently. He was very clear about the dangers on the sea surface. Once the storm appeared, even someone as strong as them would die. The stronger the living creatures of the Black Demon Sea, the more they would not want to come to the sea surface. Not bad. The Heavenly Corp's old ancestor nodded. He rarely agreed with what old ancestor Wushang said. It should be known that the storm that could destroy everything could destroy everything. Haha, then what are you waiting for? Come on. Gu Fei glanced at the Heavenly Corp's old ancestor and old ancestor Wushang and said disdainfully. Kill. The Heavenly Corp's old ancestor did not say anything else. He roared and raised the bone spear in his hand to attack Gu Fei. A strong power of death exploded from the bone spear. The bone spear in the hands of the Heavenly Corp's old ancestor released a terrifying power. Countless death Dao patterns rushed out from the bone spear and turned into ghost-like shadows that lingered around the bone spear. Swoosh! The bone spear turned into a ray of death light, and instantly pierced the front of Gu Fei at an extremely fast speed. Clang! The peerless saber in Gu Fei's hand kept clashing with the primal chaos divine chains and bone spears in Ancestor Wushang's and Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's hands, causing sparks to fly. Extreme Dao-level power continued to erupt, and the void was shattered and annihilated. Huge spatial holes appeared in the sky from time to time. Kill! Both Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Wushang attacked with all their strength. They both wanted to kill Gu Fei, then return to Deep Heaven's city at the bottom of the sea and never come out again. One should know that a storm on the surface of the sea was no joke. Once one was caught in it, even an even more powerful existence would die. There was no exception. Bang! With a muffled sound, Gu Fei sent Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse flying with a palm strike. However, at this time, Old Ancestor Wushang's primal chaos divine chains directly whipped his body. He only felt as if he was hit by an ancient divine mountain, and his entire body flew out. Go to hell! Heavenly Corpse Old Ancestor roared as he attacked. Beams of death light rushed out of his hand and pierced through Gu Fei, who was flying away. Every beam of death light was extremely fast. Gu Fei temporarily lost control of his body. Of course, this was only for a very short period of time. However, this was already enough for Gu Fei to lose the initiative. The rays of death light actually pierced his body instantly. While Gu Fei was shocked, there were faint sounds of metal colliding and rubbing against each other. He was still wearing the sky blue immortal golden battle robe, which could easily block the rays of death light from the bone spear. In the next moment, Gu Fei stabilized his body. I can use other people's stones to improve myself. Gu Fei roared, and the power of reversal immediately exploded from his body. Old Ancestor Wu Shang's attack was immediately directed towards Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse. Meanwhile, the bone spear in Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's hand pierced towards Old Ancestor Wu Shang. What? Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Wu Shang were astonished. This outsider could actually use their power for his own. How was this possible? This was too unbelievable. What secret technique is this? Old Ancestor Wu Shang exclaimed. He was almost pierced by Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's bone spear, and he broke out in a cold sweat. I've never seen this secret technique before. Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse was also almost hit by Old Ancestor Wu Shang's chaotic divine chain, and he was also shocked. I'll send you on your way. As Gu Fei said that, 3 streams of clear air surged out of his head. In the next moment, 3 Gu Fei appeared in the void and attacked Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Wu Shang. Powerful energy ripples erupted from each of the figures, and each of them seemed to be as powerful as the real body. This was one of the 9 secrets of Immortal Path, the 3 Pure Ones technique. The 3 figures possessed around 80% of Gu Fei's real body's battle prowess. 80% of Gu Fei's battle prowess was enough to play a decisive role. What, this is? Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Wu Shang were dumbfounded. Even the powerful living beings in the Black Demon Sea who were watching the battle from afar were dumbfounded. They saw 4 Gu Feis attacking Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Wu Shang at the same time. In the next moment, Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse screamed as he was sent flying. Swoosh! An extremely sharp swordlight pierced through Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's body. At the same time, a figure caught up with Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and grabbed his head with his right hand. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was heard. Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse's head was twisted off by that figure, and the bone spear in his hand was taken away by another figure. On the other side, Gu Fei's real body directly suppressed Old Ancestor Wu Shang, while his clone used the 9 heaven-punishing swords and cut off Old Ancestor Wu Shang's head. After using the 3 Pure Ones secret technique, Gu Fei's power overwhelmed everything. Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Wu Shang were unable to fight back, and were instantly defeated. Chapter 3289. Gu Fei unleashed the 3 Pure Ones, one of the 9 secrets of immortality. 3 streams of clear air rushed out of his head and turned into 3 Gu Feis. Gu Fei formed from clear air and Gu Fei's main body made 4 Gu Feis. Gu Fei formed from clear air had 80% of the main body's battle prowess. As a result, it was as if there were 4 Gu Feis attacking the Heavenly Corpse Ancestor and Ancestor Wu Shang at the same time. The Heavenly Corpse Ancestor and Ancestor Wu Shang were dumbfounded when they saw this. 1 Gu Fei was already very difficult for them to deal with. Now that there were 4 Gu Feis, how were they supposed to fight them? The Heavenly Corpse Ancestor and Ancestor Wu Shang were terrified. The 4 extremely powerful figures pounced at them like phantoms. Roar! The Heavenly Corpse Ancestor roared furiously. He madly wielded the bone spear in his hand and attacked the incoming Gu Fei and Gu Fei's clones. However, just as the Heavenly Corpse Ancestor attacked, the 2 figures that were attacking him instantly disappeared in the void. The Heavenly Corpse Ancestor's bone spear immediately stabbed into thin air. What? The Heavenly Corpse Ancestor was shocked by Gu Fei's sudden disappearance. Before he could react, he felt his head tighten. Someone had grabbed his head. At the next moment, his back felt like it had been hit by a huge mountain. The sound of bones breaking rang out again, and his already repaired spine broke into over a dozen pieces. You! The heavenly corpse ancestor was extremely shocked. His head was grabbed by someone's fingers, and his entire head seemed like it was going to be crushed. The strength of his opponent's fingers was too great. Just then, with a flash of a blade, the head of the old Master Tian corpse was sent flying once more. This time around, a purple gold god sword shot out from Gu Fei's body and nailed the head of the old Master Tian corpse into the air. Heaven Corp's old ancestor's head kept shaking. He wanted to break free, but it was all in vain. Heaven Corp's old ancestor and old ancestor Wu Shan wanted to kill Gu Fei, so Gu Fei wanted to kill them too. Killing and being killed were opposites. Everyone wanted to live, but as for who would survive, they would only know in the end. "You're not strong enough to fight me," Gu Fei's original body said in disdain. He was the one who grabbed Heavenly Corp's old ancestor's head and chopped it off. Boom! Gu Fei directly punched the headless body of the Heavenly Corp's old ancestor. The violent power directly blasted the headless body into pieces. At the same time, Gu Fei's other two clones fought against old ancestor Wu Shang. Virum! The ancient cauldron in the hand of one of Gu Fei's clones let out a buzzing sound. An unstoppable power spread out, and old ancestor Wu Shang was sent flying. Bang! Gu Fei's other clone instantly caught up to old ancestor Wu Shang, who was flying backwards. Then, with a stomp, old ancestor Wu Shang fell from the sky and into the sea with a plop. **T. When Gu Fei's two clones saw old ancestor Wu Shang falling into the sea, they immediately felt that something was wrong. They turned into two shadows and dove down from the sky. The two clones rushed into the sea. In the next moment, the sea surface boiled. At this time, Gu Fei's original body and one of his clones used the Secret of None, one of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao. The power of the Secret of None spread out from their bodies and instantly enveloped Heaven Corp's old ancestor's body that was shattered into countless pieces. In the next moment, Heaven Corp's old ancestor's body turned into dust and completely disappeared from the world. This was the power of the Secret of None, one of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao. This secret technique could turn everything in the world into nothingness. Boom! At this time, Heaven Corp's old ancestor's head that was pinned to the sky by the violet gold divine sword suddenly exploded. A ball of light shot into the sky, trying to escape. The ball of light was very weak, but it contained the genuine Heaven Corp's old ancestor's soul. Once the ball of light escaped, Heaven Corp's old ancestor could still recover. Therefore, Gu Fei would definitely not make such a low-level mistake. A beam of light shot into the sky and instantly destroyed the ball of light in the sky. An overlord of the underwater world was killed by Gu Fei just like that. Heaven Corp's old ancestor's extreme Tao bone artifact also landed in Gu Fei's hands. It was an extremely powerful extreme Tao bone artifact, which made Gu Fei rather excited. Even true extreme Tao sovereigns would be envious of an extreme Tao treasure, let alone Gu Fei, who was not a true extreme Tao sovereign yet. Rumble! Huge waves rose on the surface of the sea. Gu Fei's two clones and ancestor Wu Shang fought at the bottom of the sea, but the sea quickly calmed down. Splash! With a splash, 2 figures broke out of the water and rushed into the sky. These two were Gu Fei's 2 clones. One of them held a head in its hand. It was ancestor Wu Shang's head. Gu Fei's 2 clones used a secret technique to seal ancestor Wu Shang's head, preventing his soul from escaping. This shocked and angered ancestor Wu Shang. Gu Fei's clone that was holding ancestor Wu Shang's head threw the head towards Gu Fei's original body. Without any hesitation, Gu Fei's original body split the head in half. The extremely sharp sword light directly destroyed ancestor Wu Shang's soul. In the depths of the sea, 2 of the 3 major figures of Deep Heaven City had actually died today. This was definitely an earth-shattering matter for the entire city. The tripartite balance of Deep Heaven City had been broken. The impact on the countless living beings in Deep Heaven City was immeasurable. However, Gu Fei did not think too much about it. These 2 guys wanted his life, so he would take their lives first. It was just that simple. Gu Fei's 3 clones charged towards him, before entering his body and disappearing. After killing Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Ancestor Wu Shang, Gu Fei directly flew towards the island of dead spirits. What he needed to do now was to take back the super formation platform that could teleport across worlds. Only then could he leave this godforsaken place and return to the chaotic demon world. Very soon, a huge island appeared in Gu Fei's vision. However, before Gu Fei could approach the island, a figure suddenly appeared in the space in front of him and stopped Gu Fei. It was a figure with a vast aura of death, like a ferocious demon that had escaped from hell. At this moment, the ferocious demon was staring at Gu Fei viciously, as if it could suddenly erupt and attack Gu Fei at any time. Humph. Chapter 3290. When Gu Fei got close to the island of the dead souls, he was blocked by a dead soul that suddenly appeared. Who the hell are you? How dare you block my way? Gu Fei looked at the person in front of him in disdain. I'm not any of them. The voice of the dead soul that was shrouded in the aura of death was extremely cold. A powerful aura of death spread out from the figure. Although the aura was not very strong, it gave off a heart-palpitating feeling. The cultivation and battle prowess of this dead soul was definitely not below that of Old Ancestor Wu Shang and Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse. It might even be stronger. This made Gu Fei's expression change. You're nobody, and yet you still dared to jump out. I really admire your courage. Gu Fei smiled. You think I'm courting death? The tone of the dead soul was still cold. Haha, isn't that so? Gu Fei said with a smile. Boom! The dead soul in front of him did not speak anymore. He suddenly slapped his palm towards Gu Fei. A powerful and violent power instantly burst out from the hand of the dead soul. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye immediately appeared in the calm sky. When the dead soul attacked, Gu Fei knew that he had met a strong opponent again. This opponent was even stronger than Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse and Old Ancestor Heavenly Corpse. Boom! Gu Fei also sent out a palm strike. The two palms instantly collided with each other, and a muffled sound akin to that of a thunderclap rang out. The two figures instantly separated. The sleeve on Gu Fei's right hand was instantly torn into countless pieces. His arm was trembling slightly, and he felt a tinge of numbness. This? Gu Fei stared at the dead soul in front of him, and his expression became solemn. The opponent was very strong and was not weaker than him. This kind of physical strength was indeed rare. Clang! Just as Gu Fei was in shock, the dead spirit opposite him waved his right hand, and 5 extremely sharp sword lights immediately rushed out of his hand, piercing towards Gu Fei. Every single sword light emitted a terrifying wave of energy that made one's heart palpitate. Wherever the 5 sword lights passed, a pitch-black spatial crack would be left in the void. Humph! Gu Fei extended his hand and directly grabbed the 5 extremely sharp sword lights in his hand. Then, he exerted force and the 5 sword lights immediately collapsed. Shwa! Gu Fei took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of the dead spirit. A chaotic fist smashed directly at the dead spirit's face. The dead spirit was taken aback. It had never imagined that Gu Fei's movement technique would be so fast. When Gu Fei's fist smashed in front of him, the dead spirit only reacted and wanted to dodge, but he found that it was too late. An invincible fist intent was emitted from the other party's fist. The dead spirit quickly retreated, but all of this was useless. The fist that was surrounded by chaotic chi finally smashed into the dead spirit's face. The sound of bones breaking was heard. The dead spirit's entire nose disappeared because Gu Fei's fist had sunk into his face. Roar! The dead spirit roared and flew out. At this time, Gu Fei used the 8 desolation steps and caught up with the dead spirit in just 1 step. He then stomped on the dead spirit. However, just as Gu Fei took the first step of the 8 steps 8 kills, the dead spirit below instantly disappeared into the void. What? Seeing this scene, Gu Fei was taken aback. In the next moment, he felt a gust of wind behind his head. He quickly lowered his head and a palm brushed past his scalp. The undead spirit rushed past him. Gu Fei sucked in a breath of cold air. If he had not lowered his head just now, his head would have been removed. Preposterous. Gu Fei was enraged. He was truly enraged. This dead spirit had already threatened his life. Therefore, he had to kill it first. Thinking of this, Gu Fei flipped his right hand and a black blade immediately appeared in it. Then, he flipped his left hand and a bone spear appeared in his left hand. A terrifying fiendish aura seeped out from the black blade in Gu Fei's hand, and the bone spear in his left hand emitted a heart-palpitating aura of death. This is... When the dead spirit saw the weapon in Gu Fei's hand, he could not help but be moved. That was an extreme Dao weapon. There was no doubt that this guy was incredible. He actually had 2 extreme Dao weapons. Swoosh. Without any hesitation, Gu Fei slashed at the dead spirit in front of him. An extremely overbearing blade light directly split the void between heaven and earth, and instantly slashed at the young man. Virum. A rumbling sound came from the dead spirit's body. A ball of black light emerged from his body and blocked Gu Fei's blade. When the blade landed on the layer of divine light on the dead spirit's body, the entire light shield shook violently. Even more ancient Dao patterns appeared on the light shield. An extremely ancient and vicissitude aura permeated the entire world. Kill! Without saying much, the dead spirit attacked with all his might. A 5-colored light of death bloomed from his body, like a 5-colored celestial flower blooming. In an instant, the sky seemed to be filled with 5-colored leaves fluttering and falling towards Gu Fei. Every leaf cut through the void of the world. Although they looked colorful, they hid a shocking killing intent. This made all living beings who witnessed this scene feel extremely oppressed and fearful. At this moment, the shadow of an ancient cauldron appeared on Gu Fei's body and blocked the falling leaves. Collect! Gu Fei roared angrily. A heaven-devouring force immediately erupted from his body, causing the surrounding void to tremble. This heaven-devouring force naturally enveloped the dead spirit. The dead spirit only felt his body tighten, and he flew towards Gu Fei involuntarily. Roar! The dead spirit roared and a blood-colored light of death rushed out from his body. It directly broke through the heaven-devouring force that was emanating from Gu Fei's body and rushed out. The aura of extreme Dao was vast and mighty, causing all living beings in the Black Demon Sea to feel uneasy once again. What's going on? Some living beings in the Black Demon Sea lamented. During this period of time, there had been many extremely powerful existences taking action. This was definitely not a good thing for ordinary living beings in the Black Demon Sea. At the moment when the dead spirit broke through Gu Fei's heaven-devouring force and rushed out, a giant chaotic hand directly descended from the sky and grabbed the dead spirit. However, he did not expect that this dead spirit would also have an extreme Dao weapon on it. It was a blood moon that the dead spirit wore on its neck. The blood light that enveloped the dead spirit. It was emitted from the blood crescent moon. Boom! The next moment, a blood moon emerged from the body of the dead spirit. Gu Fei's chaotic hand instantly collapsed. It exploded from this extreme level of death energy. The terrifying power of the dead spirit was vast and mighty. Although Gu Fei's chaotic hand exploded from this power. However, the 9 chaotic Dao patterns did not collapse. Instead, it flew back to Gu Fei. It sank into his body. The next moment, Gu Fei was pushed back by the extreme power that erupted from the body of the dead spirit. At this moment, the blood moon hanging on the neck of the dead spirit was trembling. It was blooming with a demonic blood light. It was illuminated by the blood light. Gu Fei felt as if his entire body was being burned by divine fire. The blood in his body seemed to be ignited. This shocked Gu Fei. This kind of blood-colored death light seemed to be able to ignite people. Die! That dead spirit was like the Supreme Lord of Death. High and mighty. It was as if it controlled the life and death of countless living beings. It looked down at Gu Fei. Then, the blood moon hanging on the neck of the dead spirit flew up. It emitted a terrifying and monstrous power of death. Then, it charged towards Gu Fei. Rumble! The world shook. That blood moon became incomparably huge. It filled the entire world. It was as if the universe was about to be obliterated. The terrifying power that descended from the blood moon caused pitch-black spatial cracks to appear in the void below. Then, it collapsed and was annihilated. The terrifying power of destruction descended towards Gu Fei. This kind of power was enough to kill any quasi-supreme. Even those existences like Sun Ke and the demonic rock girl would not be able to escape death. However, it was a pity. This dead spirit's opponent was Gu Fei. Gu Fei was holding the black blade in his right hand. His left hand was holding the bone spear that he obtained from the heavenly corpse ancestor. The black blade in his hand was vibrating. A powerful and overbearing saber chi erupted from the black saber. The overbearing blade aura directly enveloped Gu Fei. It blocked the powerful extreme Tao-level death energy that was surging towards it. Gu Fei immediately felt his body lighten. The powerful pressure that made him almost unable to breathe immediately disappeared. At the same time, he directly stabbed the bone spear in his hand upwards. A powerful force of death immediately rushed out from the bone spear. It broke through the layers of blood-colored power that came down. It directly smashed into the blood moon. Boom! There was a loud sound. The entire sky suddenly exploded. The destructive power produced by the collision of these two powers was too shocking. This was a scene that could destroy heaven and earth. All the living beings who witnessed this were shocked to the extreme. Some living beings directly turned around and fled. The terrifying waves that came down from the sky set off monstrous waves on the surface of the sea. The bones that had been submerged in the bottom of the sea for countless years were brought up by the surging waves. The dead spirit was also shocked. He never thought that this outsider would be so difficult to deal with. The bone spear in his hand. Wasn't it the weapon of the heavenly corpse ancestor of Tianyuan City? After recognizing the bone spear in Gu Fei's hand, the dead spirit was shocked again. The heavenly corpse ancestor was one of the 3 giants of Tianyuan City. The prestige of the heavenly corpse ancestor among the experts of the entire Black Demon Sea. It had already spread. Even the rulers on the island of the dead souls, or the old ancestor of the god race on the divine island, or the strongest giant on the giant island. They were all unwilling to provoke the heavenly corpse ancestor. And now, the weapon of the heavenly corpse ancestor appeared in the hands of this outsider. Obviously, the heavenly corpse ancestor was not killed by this outsider. He had been defeated by this outsider. Even his weapon was taken by this outsider. Chapter 3292. Gu Fei's strength had far exceeded the dead spirit's expectations. It had initially thought that it could defeat this outsider, but the truth was that it was no match for this outsider. This dead spirit had a great background, but it had to admit that it was no match for Gu Fei. Rumble! At this moment, the void above the Black Demon Sea exploded. An unimaginably terrifying power ripple spread in all directions, destroying everything in its path. The living beings who were watching the battle from afar saw a scene that they would never forget for the rest of their lives. They saw the sky explode and the void between the heavens and earth being annihilated. The souls of all living beings were trembling. The scene was so terrifying that it left a shadow in their hearts that they would never be able to forget for the rest of their lives. At this moment, Gu Fei and the dead spirit started fighting again. The 2 super experts were not afraid of the destructive power ripple and directly charged into the chaos. Roar! The dead spirit roared, and the terrifying sound waves spread out. The chaos around him exploded. It was extremely terrifying. Kill! Gu Fei held the black saber and bone spear in his hands and directly charged at the dead spirit. Chaotic chi coiled around his body, making him look like a peerless god of war that had walked out from the depths of chaos. He was extremely powerful. Clang! The bone spear in Gu Fei's hand continuously collided with the blood moon above the dead spirit's head, producing a series of ear-piercing sounds of metal colliding and rubbing. The blood-red moon above the dead spirit's head displayed its supreme power. The blood-red light of death pushed away the extremely violent chaotic chi in the surroundings. Under the control of the dead spirit, the blood-colored light of death turned into blood-colored spears of death, piercing towards Gu Fei. Each spear of death exuded extreme power. Even Gu Fei would be killed instantly if he were to be pierced by these blood-colored spears of death. There was no suspense. Of course, Gu Fei would not allow these blood-colored death spears to pierce him. The shadow of an ancient cauldron emerged from his body. Countless blood-colored spears of death pierced the ancient cauldron that had emerged from Gu Fei's body. After that, a shocking scene occurred. The spears of death were all blasted away, and then exploded in the air. Buzz! The ancient cauldron's shadow trembled and a rumbling sound rang out in the void. The entire chaotic void shook and an unimaginably powerful force spread out from the ancient cauldron's shadow. This was a supreme power that could suppress everything. Even the dead spirit on the other side felt its body tense up. The surrounding void seemed to have solidified, and its movements were affected. However, at this moment, the blood-colored moon that floated above the dead spirit's head began to tremble. A blood-colored death force descended from the blood-colored moon and protected the dead spirit. The power of the blood-colored moon erupted. The dead spirit that was enveloped by the power of the blood-colored moon only felt its body lighten. The suppressive force that had erupted from the ancient cauldron's shadow was immediately blocked by the power of the blood-colored moon. The blood-colored death moon was also an extreme Tao weapon. It could contend against the power of the mountain and river cauldron without a doubt. However, this dead spirit only had one extreme Tao weapon, while Gu Fei had three. It was obvious who was stronger and who was weaker. Swoosh! Just as Gu Fei was about to make her move, the blood-colored moon above the dead spirit's head suddenly descended and instantly fused with the dead spirit. This is... When Gu Fei saw this, he could not help but be shocked. He hurriedly took precautions. Becoming one with the weapon was no joke. It could definitely display the full power of a Tao weapon. Gu Fei also knew this move, so he naturally knew how terrifying it was. However, what caused Gu Fei to be shocked was that after the dead spirit fused with the blood-colored moon, it directly turned into a ray of blood-colored light. It broke through the layers of chaotic energy and rushed into the depths of the chaotic energy. Its speed was extremely fast. What? Gu Fei had thought that there would be a huge battle, but he never thought that this guy would be as cowardly as a mouse and directly escape. The dead spirit fused with the blood-colored moon. This was simply another way for an extreme supreme being to descend. If such an existence wanted to escape, there would probably be very few people who could stop it. Of course, this guy only managed to escape because he caught Gu Fei off guard. If Gu Fei had made preparations beforehand and knew that it was trying to escape, he might have been able to stop it. Although Gu Fei was very displeased, there was nothing he could do. This guy had escaped into the depths of the chaotic energy. The chaotic void was not a place where one could wander around recklessly. If one were to get lost in there, even an extreme supreme being would have a hard time coming out. However, if one was prepared beforehand, one would not get lost in there. Since the dead spirit dared to escape into the depths of the chaotic energy, it naturally had a way to leave the chaotic void. Gu Fei glanced in the direction where the dead spirit disappeared before turning around and leaving. At this moment, the shattered void was being repaired by the power of the world. The shattered void gradually shrunk and was about to disappear completely. Just when all the living beings watching the battle thought that the two fellows would not come out from the chaotic void, a figure walked out from the void that had yet to be repaired. All the living beings watching the battle were shocked by the sudden appearance of the figure. How is this possible? Some of the dead spirit experts on the island of the undead were in disbelief when they saw this scene. The living being that walked out from the chaotic void was actually the outsider and not their old ancestor. Could it be that the old ancestor? The dead spirits on the island of the undead couldn't help but turn pale with fright. At this moment, the shattered void was finally repaired. The dead spirit that had escaped into the depths of the chaotic void did not come out. What's going on? The old ancestor has the blood moon ancestral artifact to protect him. It's impossible for him to lose. On the island of the undead, an undead emperor stood on a mountain peak and mumbled to himself. The dead spirit that was fighting with Gu Fei was an old ancestor of the undead spirit clan on the island of the undead. This old ancestor rarely appeared and was mysterious. Even the ordinary dead spirits on the island of the undead didn't know of this old ancestor's existence. Only the higher-ups of the undead spirit clan knew that there was such an old ancestor. This mysterious old ancestor of the undead was one of the most powerful old ancestors on the island of the undead. He was even stronger than any old ancestor in the deep heaven city at the bottom of the ocean. It wasn't that the old ancestor of the undead wasn't strong, but because he had encountered a monstrous existence like Gu Fei. Chapter 3293. Gu Fei was rapidly approaching the island of the dead souls, causing the dead souls on the island of the dead souls to be extremely shocked. One must know that even their old ancestor was no match for Gu Fei, so how could they possibly be a match for Gu Fei? Without any hesitation, the dead souls on the island of the dead souls immediately activated the protective formation of the island, causing an incomparably huge light barrier to envelop the entire island of the dead souls. Rumble! The extreme great formation was activated, causing a terrifying aura to spread from the island of the dead souls, causing the sky above the island of the dead souls to change color. Although Gu Fei was fast, those on the island of the dead souls were already prepared to activate the protective formation at any time. Once they saw that the situation was not right, they immediately activated the formation. One must know that if Gu Fei was allowed to enter the island of the dead souls, the consequences would be dire. These guys! When Gu Fei arrived outside the island of the dead souls, he could not help but smile bitterly at the sight. The dead souls on the island were rather clever. However, he had to enter the island of the dead souls this time and take back the formation platform that the Lord of the Dead Souls had taken away. The formation platform was originally floating in the Black Demon Sea, but after a death storm, it drifted to the vicinity of the island of the dead souls and was obtained by the Lord of the Dead Souls. The teleportation formation platform was a treasure that the Lord of the Dead Souls had yearned for, as it was an opportunity for the Dead Souls clan to leave the Black Demon Sea. Previously, the Lord of the Dead Souls plan had almost succeeded, as an extremely powerful dead soul had almost entered a world full of vitality. However, it was destroyed by the outsider in the end, and the powerful dead soul had no choice but to retreat in the end. The Lord of the Dead Souls naturally would not give up, as he knew that the Dead Souls clan could only avoid extinction by leaving the Black Demon Sea. Otherwise, the extinction of the entire clan would be the end of the Dead Souls clan. The Black Demon Sea was not a kind place, but a dangerous place. The death storm was enough to threaten an extreme supreme being, let alone other living beings. There used to be more than a dozen islands full of vitality on the surface of the Black Demon Sea, but now, there were only 3 such islands left. The other islands had completely disappeared. Death storms would appear from time to time. No matter how powerful the extreme Tao formation was, it would not be able to withstand the wear and tear of countless years. That was why the islands had disappeared. The living beings on the 3 remaining islands on the Black Demon Sea knew that they would not be able to escape the fate of being exterminated. Therefore, they were all preparing for it. It would be best if they could leave the Black Demon Sea. Even if it was difficult to leave the Black Demon Sea, they had to start preparing for an escape route. Otherwise, they would really be exterminated. Even the creatures living at the bottom of the sea were facing the fate of extinction. The storm of death not only affected the islands on the surface of the sea, but also the places where the creatures lived at the bottom of the sea. At this moment, it was difficult for Gu Fei to take back the formation platform from the Lord of the Dead Spirits. Boom! Gu Fei tried to throw a punch forward. The violent fist force instantly collided with the layer of light shield in front of him. In the next moment, he felt a strong rebounding force coming from his fist. He couldn't help but take a few steps back. The rebounding force was so strong that even with Gu Fei's cultivation and battle strength, he could not resist it. It was absolutely impossible for him to break the formation with his own strength. However, Gu Fei had a backup plan. Even if it was an extreme Tao formation, he could break it as long as he had enough time to prepare. Of course, it would take time. Moreover, Gu Fei sensed that one of his clones was on the island of the dead spirits. It should have snuck into the island of the dead spirits, and was hiding there. This was definitely a good thing for Gu Fei. Gu Fei did not attack the layer of light shield anymore. With his clones working together from the inside and outside, it became much easier to break the formation. He turned around and left, then started to make preparations. It was not easy to break an extreme Dao formation. There were many things that needed to be prepared. Gu Fei had an extreme Dao weapon in hand. He could set up a killing formation, gather endless power, and activate the power of the extreme Dao weapon to break the formation. If he did not use the power of the extreme Dao weapon, it would be impossible for him to break the formation. The formation map was ready-made, so there was no need to deliberately set up another super killing formation. Gu Fei stopped in the air thousands of miles away from the island of the dead spirits, and took out the formation map. Countless formation runes immediately appeared in the sky, densely packed together. The formation runes intertwined and a huge formation map appeared in the sky. The formation map covered the entire sky and emitted a terrifying murderous aura. This was an attack-killing formation. The murderous power that caused the world to tremble was rapidly gathering. A shocking killing formation appeared in the sky just like that. What is that? In the distant sky, the living beings of the Black Demon Sea were alarmed by the sudden appearance of the killing formation. They all looked at the killing formation in the sky with indescribable shock. The murderous power was vast and mighty, and the huge killing formation was operating. Chapter 3294. Thousands of miles away from the island of dead souls, the winds and clouds gathered in the sky above the sea. A monstrous murderous aura caused the heavens and the earth to pale in comparison. It was extremely terrifying. This was an incomparably huge killing formation that had gathered a terrifying power of destruction. This power was enough to contend with the power of an ordinary extreme Dao. At this moment, the wind howled in the dusky sky and the sea surged with towering waves. The entire world seemed to have turned into chaos once again. The power of the supreme killing formation continued to gather and increase rapidly. The entire world began to shake and pitch-black spatial cracks continuously appeared in the void. The aura of destruction filled every inch of the void. At this moment, Gu Fei sat cross-legged in the middle of the super-killing formation that he had set up. In front of him, on the left, on the right, were the core of the killing formation. The four major formation eyes were also the source of the killing formation's power. Within each of the four major formation eyes, there was an extreme Dao treasure floating within, releasing unparalleled extreme Dao power. The power of the extreme Dao treasures was drawn by the killing formation and then controlled by Gu Fei. This was the function of the super killing formation. It could draw upon the power of the four extreme Dao treasures to its greatest extent. With the power of the four extreme Dao treasures gathered together, there was no formation in the world that could not be broken. Of course, this was just an inference. In theory, the killing formation that Gu Fei had set up had such power. However, when it was actually activated, there were still some deviations. Gathering the power of the four extreme Dao treasures together was no simple task. Only Gu Fei had the ability to do so. If it had been anyone else, even a formation grandmaster would not have been able to control the power of the four extreme Dao treasures. At this moment, the power of the four extreme Dao treasures in the four major formation eyes was constantly guided out by the power of the formation and condensed. The energy ripples that erupted from the killing formation continued to rise. If it wasn't for the supreme killing formation restraining this energy, the entire world would have exploded. At the same time, the essence of the world was frantically gathering towards the super killing formation. It entered the formation and turned into the killing formation's power. In this way, the killing formation's power became even stronger. Wherever the supreme killing formation enveloped, large swathes of the void were constantly annihilated. What does he want to do? The creatures watching from afar were shocked to the extreme. This killing formation was too shocking, and the destructive aura it emitted made all the creatures feel uneasy. This was especially true for the undead spirits on the island of undead spirits. They were extremely restless because they had already guessed that this fellow was planning to deal with them. Go get the patriarch. On the island of the undead, one of the undead said something like this. Even that person isn't a match for this outsider. I'm afraid the other patriarchs. An expert of the undead spirit clan said hesitantly. The other experts of the undead spirit clan didn't say anything. Gu Fei had indeed defeated the most powerful old ancestor of the undead spirit clan. Although there were still ancestor-level existences on the undead island, the other ancestors were not necessarily stronger than the ancestor who had fought with Gu Fei. Humph, what's there to worry about? Could it be that that fellow will really be able to break in? An expert of the undead spirit clan said disdainfully. It should be known that the protective formation of the island of the undead spirits was an extreme formation that had existed for countless years. Even the death storm of the Black Demon Sea could not destroy this great formation. This great formation had protected the undead spirit clan for countless years, allowing the undead spirit clan to recuperate on the island of the undead. Don't underestimate this outsider, an expert of the undead spirit clan said. Some of the experts on the island of the undead spirits noticed something. The aura emitted by the super-killing formation thousands of miles away was too strong. The four extreme auras made the higher-ups of the undead spirit clan on the island of the undead feel a great threat. No one had ever been able to gather such a powerful force. There was no need to ask to know who this outsider was targeting by gathering such a powerful force. Rumble! A muffled thunderous sound came from thousands of miles away. Although it was not loud, it shocked all the undead spirits on the island of the undead spirits. A shocking killing intent surged out from the killing formation 1,000 miles away. All the creatures in the vicinity were terrified, and they quickly retreated into the distance. The fear that originated from the depths of their souls made all the living beings feel extremely uneasy. They had no choice but to retreat. Soon, more than half of the living beings in the void within a radius of 100,000 miles had retreated. Only the true experts could barely hold on. However, as the aura emitted by the killing formation continued to grow stronger, even the powerful living beings began to retreat. Is it about to begin? At this moment, a black-robed young man was sitting cross-legged on a boulder in a valley in the depths of the island of the undead spirits. The black-robed young man suddenly opened his eyes and turned to look in the direction of the killing formation. Then, he waved his right hand and countless divine lights flew out from his sleeve. Each divine light wrapped around a piece of divine jade, and each piece of divine jade emitted runes. Those were formation runes. The countless divine lights scattered in the void around the black-robed young man. Some floated in the air, while others directly sank into the ground. It seemed chaotic, but it was in accordance with the laws of the world. The black-robed young man sitting on the boulder was one of Gu Fei's clones. At this moment, a formation loomed around Gu Fei's clone. Gu Fei's clone had also set up a formation on the island of the undead spirits, which resonated with the super-killing formation thousands of miles away. An obscure ripple of energy spread from the formation. Although the formation was not as terrifying as the super-killing formation thousands of miles away, it was not weak either. Gu Fei's clone deliberately hid the presence of the formation. However, it was difficult to completely hide the presence of the formation. A portion of its presence spread from the valley. Gu Fei's clone then stood up from the boulder and flew into the sky, leaving the valley. Because he knew that the cultivators of the Dead Spirits clan would find this place very soon. The killing formation was enough to make the cultivators of the Dead Spirits clan suffer. Just a while after Gu Fei's clone left. Boom! With a bang, the entire valley suddenly exploded. An extremely powerful destructive force spread out, obliterating everything. Lines of formation runes appeared in the void and emitted dazzling divine lights. A great formation appeared in the void. In the next moment, the spiritual energy of the world around the great formation gathered towards the formation in a frenzy. What? The energy waves from the depths of the mountain immediately alerted the powerful dead spirits on the island of the undead spirits. Roar! A furious roar was heard. Boom! Suddenly, a mountain peak exploded, and a monstrous death aura burst out. a terrifying death figure rushed out and directly rushed into the depths of the mountain ridge. On top of a mountain in the depths of the island of the undead stood a huge bone hall. An endless aura of death lingered around the bone hall. It was an aura of death that was visible to the naked eye. This aura of death was terrifying. If an ordinary cultivator were to come into contact with a strand of it, they would immediately die. Of course, this was only for ordinary cultivators. What's going on? A powerful wave of will rushed out of the bone hall. It instantly crossed the void and arrived at the area where Gu Fei's clone had set up the killing formation. This strand of divine sense turned into a faint and illusory figure that appeared in front of the killing array. He actually snuck in. The illusory figure seemed to be shocked. Master! At this moment, an extremely powerful figure descended from the sky and arrived in front of the illusory figure. It was a powerful dead spirit that was close to the level of a great ancestor. However, such a powerful dead spirit was terrified before the figure formed by the will. Go and have a try, the figure said to the dead spirit. Yes, master. The dead spirit quickly accepted the order and walked forward. He threw a punch at the killing formation. A violent force of death immediately exploded from his fist. Rumble! The dead spirit punched out, and under his fist, the entire void of the world trembled. However, a scene that left the dead spirit dumbfounded appeared. The power of his punch was actually completely devoured by the killing formation in front of him. Even the illusory figure was extremely shocked. The killing formation seemed to be able to devour all kinds of energy. Not only was it able to devour the energy of the world, but it was also able to devour the energy of dead spirits. Could it be? At this moment, the Lord of Dead Spirits suddenly thought of something. In the next moment, the illusory figure formed by the will shot into the sky and disappeared into the void. Very soon, a figure walked out from the bone palace on the mountain. All right, let's begin. At this moment, Gu Fei's voice was heard from the super-killing formation 1,000 miles away from the island of dead spirits. Boom! In the next moment, an extremely terrifying wave of energy rippled out from the killing formation. An ancient cauldron, a bone spear, a chaotic divine chain, and a black saber rushed out from the eye of the killing formation. This was the phenomenon formed by the power of the four supreme Tao weapons. As soon as the four great phenomena appeared, countless living beings within a radius of 100,000 miles became extremely terrified. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. The destructive aura that spread from the killing formation was enough to make countless living beings have a mental breakdown. At this moment, the shadows of the four supreme Tao weapons collided and turned into an immortal ray of light. The ray of light pierced through the void and hit the protective divine light of the island of dead spirits. A distance of 1,000 miles was nothing to this immortal divine light. In the next moment, the dead spirits on the island of dead spirits were horrified. The immortal ray of light pierced through the protective divine light of the island of dead spirits. How is this possible? Chapter 3295. The killing formation that Gu Fei had set up was too powerful. Once it lost the suppression of the four ultimate Tao weapons, the killing formation would not be able to function and would collapse. The moment Gu Fei withdrew the supreme Tao weapon that was used to suppress the killing formation's four formation cores, the killing formation began to crumble from the inside out. A terrifying force that seemed capable of destroying heaven and earth erupted with a loud rumble. In the void, countless runes exploded and then dissipated in the void. Array diagrams were shattered and then obliterated by the sweeping destructive power. Even the protective formation of the island of the dead spirits was affected. Countless cracks appeared on the light barrier that enveloped the entire island of the dead spirits. Some parts of the light barrier had even been pierced through, creating large holes. The destructive power from the outside world surged in from the outside. In just an instant, the mountains by the coast of the island of the dead spirits were reduced to ashes. Fortunately, the observing dead spirits had already retreated far away. Otherwise, many more dead spirits would have died. The undead spirit clan was a clan that was born from death. They were a different kind of living beings, different from normal living beings. Once they died again, their souls would truly scatter, and it would be impossible for them to give birth to new lives. Rumble! The world shook as Gu Fei and the Lord of the Dead Spirits fought intensely. It had been a long time since he had met such a powerful opponent. The Lord of the Dead Spirits was even stronger than the Heavenly Corpse Patriarch and Patriarch Wu Shang from before. The ancient bone shield in the Lord of the Dead Spirits' hand blocked all of Gu Fei's attacks. However, the power of the 4 ultimate Dao weapons was not weak either. However, the bone shield in the Lord of the Dead Spirits' hand was a defensive ultimate Dao weapon. The death power that erupted from the bone shield enveloped the Lord of the Dead Spirits. Swoosh! At this moment, Gu Fei grabbed the peerless ominous saber in front of him and slashed at the Lord of the Dead Spirits. A black saber light immediately soared and slashed at the bone shield in the Lord of the Dead Spirits' hand. The bone shield in the Lord of the Dead Spirits' hand immediately erupted with an extremely powerful death power. Countless bone inscriptions surged out from the bone shield and blocked the shocking attack. Roar! The Lord of the Undead Spirits roared. Although the bone shield had blocked most of the power of Gu Fei's attack, he was still shaken and fell from the sky. Boom! The Lord of the Undead Spirits directly fell to the ground, causing a cloud of dust to rise and fall. The vast energy ripples caused the ground to undulate like waves. Why don't you just hand over the formation platform? Why do you have to fight and kill? Gu Fei shook his head helplessly. If he could resolve this with his fists, he wouldn't want to. However, it was obvious that the Lord of the Undead Spirits wouldn't hand over the formation obediently. He took a step forward, rushed down from the sky, and killed his way into the ground. Powerful energy waves surged up from the depths of the earth, causing the ground to tremble even more violently. The earth was cracking and sinking, and mountains were collapsing one after another. A destructive aura filled every inch of the void. The powerful creatures who were watching the battle from afar were all extremely shocked. How was it possible that the outsider could fight endlessly with the Lord of the Undead Spirits? What shocked the powerful living beings of the Black Demon Sea the most was that this outsider could break through the island-guarding formation of the Island of Dead Spirits. Didn't this mean that this outsider could break through the island-guarding formation of the other 2 islands? At this time, many creatures from the other 2 islands had also arrived outside the Island of the Dead Spirits. There were figures of celestial race experts appearing in the distant sky. There were also figures of giants standing on the surface of the sea. Their huge figures were taller than mountains, and the breath they exhaled turned into clouds. This guy is actually so powerful. The giant muttered to himself. He didn't expect Gu Fei to be so powerful, which had long exceeded his expectations. Previously on the giant island, this guy had obviously hidden his strength. At that moment, a silhouette suddenly charged out from the ground. It was a supreme silhouette that radiated with the light of death. A formidable power of death spread out, and the vitality of the entire world seemed to be instantly plundered. All the flowers and trees within a radius of thousands of miles withered instantly. It was the Lord of the Undead Spirits. He didn't rush out by himself, but was sent flying by Gu Fei. He was involuntarily sent flying high into the sky, and crashed into the light shield that enveloped the entire Island of the Dead Spirits. Master, actually. The undead spirits who saw this scene from afar were all dumbfounded. They had never seen the Lord of the Undead Spirits in such a sorry state. The Lord of the Undead Spirits was wearing a bone armor, holding a bone shield and a bone axe. It was a complete set of bone weapons. However, even so, he still couldn't suppress Gu Fei. Instead, he was sent flying out from the depths of the ground by Gu Fei. Roar! The Lord of the Undead Spirits roared angrily at the sky. Terrifying sound waves spread out, causing the entire world to tremble. The void around him exploded. At this time, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the Lord of the Undead Spirits and threw a punch. The chaotic light that erupted from the fist was like a chaotic sun that appeared in the sky. Without any suspense, the Lord of the Undead Spirits was sent flying again. The 4 supreme Dao treasures circled around Gu Fei. he activated the power of the four supreme Tao treasures and infused them into his body. It was as if an extreme Tao sovereign had descended. Every move he made was filled with great power. Only Gu Fei could use such a method. After all, this was the power of four great Tao weapons. Who would dare to use such power carelessly? Preposterous! At this moment, the Lord of the Undead Spirits was extremely sullen. His cultivation and battle prowess were definitely not inferior to Gu Fei's. However, he did not have as many Tao weapons as Gu Fei. The number of Tao weapons determined the outcome of this battle. There was no doubt about it. Therefore, the Lord of the Undead Spirits felt sullen. It was not that he was inferior to Gu Fei. It was just that he did not have as many Tao weapons as Gu Fei. Gu Fei was extremely domineering. He used the 8 desolation steps and caught up to the Lord of the Undead Spirits with a single step. He threw another punch. Boom! With a dull sound, Gu Fei's fist landed heavily on the bone shield of the Lord of the Undead Spirits. The ferocious power caused the bone shield to vibrate violently, and it almost flew out of his hand. The Lord of the Undead Spirits held on tightly to the bone shield. However, he was sent flying by a powerful force from the bone shield. If it was not for the protection of the bone armor, the force from the bone shield alone would have been enough to shatter the Lord of the Undead Spirits into pieces. Wow, these bones are really tough. Could they be the real bones of an extreme being? Chapter 3296. The Lord of Dead Spirits was extremely aggrieved. He was completely suppressed by Gu Fei, not because his cultivation and battle prowess were inferior to Gu Fei's, but because he had fewer extreme Tao weapons than Gu Fei. Damn it! The Lord of Dead Spirits was sent flying by Gu Fei once again. This time, cracks appeared on his bone shield, as if it could shatter at any time. However, the bone shield in the Lord of Dead Spirits' hand emitted a ball of death light in the next moment, and the cracks on the bone shield immediately disappeared. This extreme Tao bone weapon could repair itself. Hand over the formation platform and we can be friends. Isn't that great? Gu Fei smiled as he chased after the Lord of Dead Spirits. The energy ripples from the 4 extreme Tao weapons caused the entire world to tremble. If not for Gu Fei's careful control, the space around him would not have been able to withstand the power of the extreme Tao, and would have exploded. What did you say? The Lord of Dead Spirits was both shocked and furious. He knew that this outsider had most likely shown mercy. Otherwise, he would have been defeated long ago. It must be known that the other party possessed 4 extreme Tao weapons. Once the power of the 4 extreme Tao weapons was unleashed, the Lord of Dead Spirits, who only possessed a set of extreme Tao weapons, would naturally not be a match for them. However, it wouldn't be easy for Gu Fei to defeat the Undead Spirit Lord. After all, the Undead Spirit Lord wasn't an ordinary person. The power of the set of extreme Tao weapons that the Lord of Dead Spirits possessed was not to be underestimated. If these extreme Tao weapons were separated, they would be equivalent to several extreme Tao weapons. Of course, the power of the separated extreme Tao weapons would definitely be much weaker than a complete extreme Tao weapon. They could not be compared on the same level. Just as the Lord of Dead Spirits was thinking, Gu Fei's fist came smashing over again. Boom! With a loud sound, the Lord of Dead Spirits felt his left hand shake. The bone shield finally flew out of his hand, and his entire left arm became numb. The Lord of Dead Spirits was shocked. If his left arm was not protected by the bone armor, a single punch from the other party would have broken his arm into several pieces. Stop! The Lord of Undead Spirits said loudly. Why, can we sit down and talk? Gu Fei said with a smile. He did not attack again, but his body was still exuding a towering battle intent. He could attack again at any time. At this time, Gu Fei had already taken control of the rhythm of this battle. In a sense, he had already won. The outcome of this battle was already decided. What? The Lord of Undead Spirits was stunned when he heard Gu Fei's words. I just want to take back what belongs to me. Gu Fei shrugged. That formation platform is yours, the Undead Spirit Lord said in disbelief. Ha ha, it's mine, Gu Fei said with a smile. He had another formation platform, and the one in the Black Demon Sea was naturally a pair with the one in the Chaos Demon domain. You're lying, trying to deceive me, the Lord of Undead Spirits said angrily. Why do you say that? You don't seem to have anything worth deceiving, Gu Fei said disapprovingly. That formation platform has been floating in the Black Demon Sea for countless years. Don't think that I don't know, the Lord of Undead Spirits said angrily. It turned out that the living beings in the Black Demon Sea were not unaware of the existence of the formation platform. However, it was a legend to the living beings in the Black Demon Sea, a legend that could allow one to leave the Black Demon Sea. Legend had it that in order to leave the Black Demon Sea, one must first obtain a mysterious formation platform that had been floating in the Black Demon Sea for countless years. However, the formation platform had always been a legend. However, at this moment, the Lord of Undead Spirits knew that it was not a legend, but a fact. This was because the Undead Spirit tribe had almost used the formation platform to leave the Black Demon Sea, but they had failed at the last moment. The reason for their failure was actually very simple. It was because the guy before them had ruined their plans. Just as Gu Fei and the Lord of Undead Spirits stopped fighting, a figure was moving rapidly between the mountain ridges, heading towards the depths of the island of Undead Spirits. Soon, the towering mountain that pierced through the clouds appeared in front of the figure. TSK, I'm here to build a plank road in the open, but to sneak in the dark. The figure stood on a short mountain and glanced in the direction of Gu Fei and the Lord of Undead Spirits before smiling. This person was Gu Fei's clone. While his real body was fighting the Lord of Undead Spirits, his clone had directly entered the depths of the island of Undead Spirits and arrived at the core area of the island of Undead Spirits. The towering mountain in front was the sacred mountain of the Undead Spirit tribe, and the bone palace on the mountain was the sacred palace of the Undead Spirit tribe. This was the sacred land of the Undead Spirit tribe. Only the higher-ups of the Undead Spirit tribe could enter this place. Ordinary dead spirits were not qualified to enter the sacred land. The Lord of Undead Spirits had hidden the formation platform in the Bone Palace, because the Bone Palace at the peak of the sacred mountain was the safest place to him. No one would have thought that other living beings would dare to enter the sacred land of the Undead Spirit tribe. Such a thing had never happened in countless years. Now, Gu Fei's clone had taken advantage of the fact that all the higher-ups of the Undead Spirit tribe were distracted by Gu Fei and the Lord of Undead Spirits to sneak into the sacred land of the Undead Spirit tribe. Gu Fei's clone was equivalent to Gu Fei coming in person. The clone also knew all of Gu Fei's battle techniques and killing techniques. His clone directly used the anti-void secret technique. It was as if his body had become one with heaven and earth, and the aura of his body had become one with the aura of the void around him. Even living beings who were much stronger than him would not be able to sense his existence. Even if the Lord of Undead Spirits was still at the peak of the sacred mountain, he would definitely not be able to sense the existence of Gu Fei's clone, let alone the other powerhouses of the Undead Spirit tribe. Gu Fei's clone did not hesitate. He directly sneaked into the sacred mountain, and his figure instantly disappeared among the mountains. This is something that I left here. Can't I? Gu Fei continued to bluff the Lord of Undead Spirits. Humph, this is the hope of my tribe to leave the Black Demon Sea. How can I give that formation platform to you? The Lord of Undead Spirits said with a sneer. If he were to return the formation platform to Gu Fei, it would be cutting off all the way out for the Undead Spirit tribe. If the island guarding formation of the island of Undead Spirits was destroyed by the death storm one day, the Undead Spirit tribe would only end up being wiped out. You just want to leave the Black Demon Sea? That's easy. Gu Fei's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard the words of the Lord of Undead Spirits. These guys just wanted to leave this place. As long as he helped them leave this place, wouldn't they return the formation platform to him? That's right. The Lord of Undead Spirits nodded. This was not a secret, and he believed that the living beings on the other two islands also wanted to leave this place. Chapter 3297. The Lord of the Undead Spirits had made it very clear that he only wanted the entire race to leave the Black Demon Sea so that they would not have to live in fear. This was because he did not know when the protective formation of the island of the Undead Spirits would be destroyed by the death storm of the Black Demon Sea. By then, everything would be too late. The Lord of the Undead Spirits naturally had to plan for the future of his race. This was the main thing that a race should do, and it was also a kind of responsibility. Therefore, even someone as powerful as the Lord of the Undead Spirits would have times when he had no choice, because he had the entire undead spirit race behind him. To a certain extent, Gu Fei was also the same. He also had a lot of responsibilities on his shoulders. Yenner and Gu Ling were the people closest to him. He was more at ease with Yenner cultivating in his inner world, but little Princess Gu Ling was different. She had already set foot on the ancient road of the human race for some time, and he did not know when she would return. The ancient road of the human race was full of dangers and challenges. Gu Fei was not very assured, but he believed that Gu Ling would successfully walk out of the ancient road of the human race. As for He Tian, he did not know where he had gone, and he had not shown up. Gu Fei did not know that He Tian had been trapped in the land of ascending immortals. He had not been to the ancient crepe myrtle star, so he naturally did not know about He Tian. In fact, the ancestral crepe myrtle star was already in turmoil. Although He Tian could not completely escape, he could transform into a clone and travel around the ancestral crepe myrtle star. Ji Chang Kong was the same. Although he had been trapped in the chaotic world for tens of thousands of years, many people in the Ji clan were still on his side, and he still had the support of many clansmen. This was not a good thing for the current clan leader of the Ji clan. Gu Fei naturally did not know the situation in the ancestral crepe myrtle star. What he needed to solve now was how to obtain the formation platform in the hands of the Lord of the Undead Spirits. Only by controlling the pair of transboundary formation platforms could he freely travel to the ancestral god realm. Gu Fei and the Lord of the Undead Spirits were in a standoff. The auras that erupted from the two powerhouses were simply too frightening. The entire heavens and earth trembled under their powerful auras. This was especially true for Gu Fei. He was surrounded by 4 supreme Tao treasures, each of which exuded a powerful aura that made the world pale in comparison. With 4 extreme Tao treasures circling around him, Gu Fei was like a supreme being of the extreme Tao that had descended. The beings watching the battle from afar were shocked. As for the Lord of the Undead Spirits, he was wearing bone armor. He had retracted the bone escape technique that Gu Fei had sent flying. He held the bone escape technique and the bone axe in his hands, and his entire body was covered in bone armor. Rays of death light that were visible to the naked eye surrounded his body. Although the aura emitted by the Lord of Undead Spirits was not as powerful as Gu Fei's, it was not to be underestimated either. These two fellows. In the distant sky, many powerful beings who were alarmed could not help but be moved when they sensed the powerful auras that erupted from Gu Fei and the Lord of the Undead Spirits. "It's very easy for you to leave the Black Demon Sea with your entire race," Gu Fei said nonchalantly. "What?" The Lord of the Undead Spirits was extremely shocked when he heard Gu Fei's words. Since ancient times, countless beings from the Black Demon Sea had tried to leave the Black Demon Sea, but all of them had failed. How could this be easy? However, the Lord of the Undead Spirits came to a realization when he thought of the formation platform. With that formation platform, everything seemed to be much simpler. "How about this? Hand over the formation platform, and I'll send your race out of the Black Demon Sea." Gu Fei stared at the Lord of the Undead Spirits and said, if he could build a passage between the Chaos Demon Realm and the Black Demon Sea, the Undead Spirit Tribe would be able to leave the Black Demon Sea. This was not impossible. The Lord of the Undead Spirits, was very excited. This was something that he had been dreaming of, but he knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. "I said that I'll help your Undead Spirit Tribe leave the Black Demon Sea," Gu Fei said seriously. In this way, there would not be a war with the Undead Spirit Tribe, and he might even be able to make use of the Undead Spirit Tribe. "What did you say? Is it true?" The Lord of the Undead Spirits heard it clearly this time, and he was extremely excited. If his race could leave the Black Demon Sea, he would be willing to give up the formation platform. This was because he was unwilling to hand over the formation platform because it could cross boundaries, and it was the hope of the Undead Spirit tribe to leave the Black Demon Sea. Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? What's in it for me? Gu-Fei shrugged and said. All right, it's a deal. As long as you can help us leave the Black Demon Sea, I'll hand over the formation platform with both hands, the Lord of the Undead Spirits said. Upon hearing this, Gu-Fei was a little displeased. He said, You want me to send your people away before you hand over the formation platform to me, right? Yes. The Lord of the Undead Spirits replied without hesitation. You're smart, but unfortunately your plan is wrong. Without the formation platform, it's impossible for me to send any living beings out of the Black Demon Sea. Gu-Fei smiled bitterly and shook his head. You want the formation platform before you send my people away, the Lord of the Undead Spirits said with a solemn expression. He did not trust Gu-Fei, and there was nothing he could do if Gu-Fei did not keep his promise after obtaining the formation platform. The Lord of the Undead Spirits did not want to take this risk. Without the formation platform, how can I open the passage between the two worlds? Gu-Fei said. How do I know if you're lying to me? The Lord of the Undead Spirits stared at Gu-Fei and said, You don't have anything worth lying to you, Gu-Fei suddenly said with a smile. At this time, he received a divine sense fluctuation from his doppelganger. His doppelganger had already infiltrated the holy mountain of the Dead Spirit clan and was sneaking towards the bone hall at the top of the mountain where the array platform was hidden. What do you mean by that? The Lord of the Undead Spirits was startled when he heard Gu-Fei's words, but he knew that he was in trouble the next moment. He quickly turned around and was about to leave. Humph! Gu-Fei sneered and took a step forward, standing in front of the Lord of the Undead Spirits. The Lord of the Undead Spirits was both shocked and furious. He wanted to return to the sacred ground, but he had to defeat Gu-Fei first, which was almost impossible for him. You despicable and cunning bastard! The Lord of the Undead Spirits glared at Gu-Fei and gritted his teeth. This guy must have sent experts to the sacred ground. He could not help but feel anxious at the thought of this. At this moment, on the sacred mountain of the Undead Spirits tribe, a figure was moving rapidly like a phantom, stealthily heading toward the Bone Palace at the top of the mountain. Chapter 3298. The Holy Land of the Dead Spirit Clan was terrifyingly quiet. Gu-Fei's doppelganger, who had sneaked into the Holy Land, couldn't see any dead spirits at all. What's going on? Gu-Fei's doppelganger muttered to himself. He felt that something was wrong. This was the Holy Land of the Dead Spirit Clan. How could there be no defense at all? It was too easy to sneak in. However, Gu-Fei's doppelganger wasn't afraid. He didn't think too much about it. At this time, he had already sneaked halfway up the holy mountain. He didn't encounter any obstacles along the way. However, he didn't know that the Dead Spirit Clan had already left in full force. There were only a few experts of the Dead Spirit Clan left in the Holy Land. He didn't know where these guys were hiding and didn't show up. The aura of Gu-Fei's doppelganger was perfectly integrated with the surrounding void. Coupled with his careful hiding, the dead spirits in the Holy Land didn't sense his existence at all. Although the holy mountain of the Dead Spirit Clan was very high, Gu-Fei's doppelganger climbed to the top of the mountain very quickly. Then, he hid behind a big rock and carefully sensed everything around him. He found that the entire Bone Palace was shrouded by a deathly aura. Although this deathly aura wasn't very strong, it made him tremble with fear. The entire Bone Palace was like a sleeping supreme dead spirit. If this dead spirit was awakened, the consequences would be very serious. However, the transportation formation that Gu-Fei wanted to retrieve was in the Bone Palace. It seemed that he wouldn't be able to retrieve it if he didn't enter the Bone Palace. This gave Gu-Fei's doppelganger a headache. If he had a choice, he would definitely not enter the Bone Palace. However, he had no choice but to enter the Bone Palace. At this time, there were no more people coming from the Chaos Demon world. The magic rock goddess no longer activated the transportation formation in the Chaos Demon world. The magic rock goddess was waiting for Gu Fei. She wouldn't act rashly before Gu Fei and the golden rock goddess came back. However, if Gu Fei and the golden rock goddess wanted to return to the Chaos Demon realm, they must obtain the formation platform in the Bone Palace. Otherwise, even if Gu Fei's cultivation was heaven-defying, it would be impossible for him to return. Without the protection of those lifeless fellows. Gu Fei's doppelganger found this hard to believe. How could there be no experts guarding such an important place? Could it be that those fellows were hiding in the dark and he could not sense their existence? He thought for a bit. Then, a speck of immortal light surged from the space between his brows. A faintly discernible divine sense ripple spread from the space between his brows. This spiritual force fluctuation wasn't very strong, and it was erratic. No one could sense where this spiritual force fluctuation came from. As soon as Gu Fei's clone released this spiritual force fluctuation, a low roar immediately came from the Bone Hall. A silhouette surrounded by deathly aura appeared in the Bone Hall. A powerful silhouette could be vaguely seen behind the door. The silhouette didn't come out from the Bone Hall. This gave Gu Fei's clone a headache. If that fellow kept guarding there, it wouldn't be a good thing for him. Soon, a silhouette descended from the sky and appeared in front of the Bone Hall. It was a human skeleton. Within the skull of the skeleton, there was an incomparably dazzling spiritual light. Within the skull of the dead spirit, the spiritual fire was as dazzling as a sun. A powerful spiritual force spread out and instantly enveloped the entire mountain. Even so, the dead spirit couldn't sense the existence of Gu Fei's clone. How is this possible? The dead spirit was extremely shocked. He actually couldn't sense anything. The spiritual force fluctuation was still there. The enemy hiding in the dark was on the mountain. Search! Such a spiritual force fluctuation came from the Bone Hall. The dead spirit outside the Bone Hall immediately soared into the sky. Two dazzling spiritual lights rushed out from his eye sockets and scanned the surroundings. Gu Fei's clone was carefully hiding. At this moment, a clear chi emerged from the top of his head and turned into another Gu Fei. Then he dashed out. So it's here! The dead spirit in the sky roared and directly swooped down from the sky. A monstrous deathly aura immediately came down from the sky. Humph! Gu Fei, who was formed by the clear chi, directly slapped the dead spirit that was swooping down from the sky. A huge hand immediately appeared in the void, bursting out an incomparably powerful energy fluctuation, shaking the void. The undead spirit was not to be trifled with. A beam of sword light shot out from the undead spirit's head, slashing towards the incoming hand. Boom! The two forces collided with each other, resulting in a loud bang. The entire mountain immediately shook from the vast and mighty energy ripples. However, the Bone Hall was as still as a mountain. The mighty energy fluctuation couldn't shake the Bone Hall at all. At this moment, the huge hand and the sword light in the sky dissipated at the same time. Two powerful figures moved rapidly in the void, fighting endlessly. Roar! Just as the clone of Gu Fei was fighting with the dead spirit, another roar was heard from afar. Then, a powerful figure rushed to the top of the mountain. The experts who were guarding the sacred land were alarmed. It was a dead spirit, an even more powerful dead spirit. The first thing the dead spirit did when it rushed to the top of the mountain was to attack the clone of Gu Fei. The two great dead spirits joined forces to fight the clone of Gu Fei. For a moment, they were evenly matched. It's just a clone. You guys can't even take it down. What a waste. The divine thoughts in the Bone Hall spread out again. Although the two great dead spirits were scolded, they didn't even dare to let out a fart. The two great dead spirits fought desperately with the clone of Gu Fei, wanting to take it down as soon as possible. However, although it was only a clone, it still had about 80% of the battle strength of Gu Fei's clone. Its battle strength was comparable to that of a demon ancestor. In the Black Demon Sea, the clone of Gu Fei might not be the most powerful battle strength, but it was enough to dominate a region. No more. The clone of Gu Fei released the clone of Gu Fei to lure out the guardians of the sacred land of the Dead Spirit clan. There should be more dead spirits guarding this sacred land. He pondered for a moment. Then, another stream of Gu Fei rushed out from his body and turned into another Gu Fei. The appearance of the second clone of Gu Fei made the two great dead spirits on the top of the mountain very nervous. The second clone of Gu Fei joined the battle, and the battle on the top of the mountain became even more intense. The clone of Gu Fei was incomparably strong, and gradually gained the upper hand. This made the two great dead spirits shocked and angry, and they roared again and again. What a waste. I was right about you guys. If it wasn't for the fact that Gu Fei's clone was alert enough to rush out of his hiding place the moment he felt something was wrong, he would have died. Gu Fei's clone raised his head and looked at the guy in the sky. An extremely powerful battle intent immediately exploded from his body. Humph, you're not a coward anymore? Come over and let me kill you, and I'll leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, I'll destroy your body and soul, never to reincarnate. The dead spirit stared coldly at Gu Fei's clone and said, Tisk, why don't you come down and let me kill you? I'll leave your corpse intact. Gu Fei's clone said in disdain. What did you say? The dead spirit was instantly enraged. He was in a high position, and whoever he wanted to kill had to die. Even the Lord of the Dead Spirits had to be polite to him. When had he ever been looked down upon like this? I think you've been kicked in the head by a donkey. How could you say something so stupid? Gu Fei said mockingly. Roar, no one has ever dared to talk to me like this. You're dead. I'll destroy your body and soul. The dead spirit was enraged. Torrential killing intent erupted from his body. The temperature of the entire world kept dropping under the impact of this chilling killing intent. Even the two experts of the Dead Spirit clan who had retreated to the distance to watch the battle felt a chilling aura, causing their hearts to palpitate. This old guy's cultivation has gotten even stronger. Chapter 3300. On the sacred mountain of the Undead Spirit clan, Gu Fei's doppelganger was in danger. At this time, Gu Fei's real body had already secured victory, and the Lord of the Undead Spirits was no match for him. In the sky above the island of the undead near the Black Sea, the two experts were confronting each other. Terrifying energy waves spread out from the two figures in the sky. All the living creatures within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles were terrified. The auras that erupted from Gu Fei and the Lord of the Undead Spirits were too powerful. The auras of the extreme way were vast and mighty between heaven and earth. You actually. At this time, the Lord of the Undead Spirits was extremely shocked, because he had already received news that someone had broken into the sacred land of the Undead Spirit clan. An expert of the Undead Spirit clan guarding this sacred land had sent him a message. The clansmen of the Undead Spirit clan could communicate with each other using the message talisman. This kind of message talisman was easy to refine and convenient to use, and all the cultivators in the Black Demon Sea used this method to communicate with each other. Hee, the Undead Spirit clan is also not bad, to think that there's an expert hidden in the sacred land. Gu Fei smiled as he looked at the Lord of Undead Spirits opposite him. 4 supreme Tao treasures circled around him. The mighty aura that emanated from the 4 supreme Tao treasures caused the entire void to tremble continuously. Gu Fei smiled as he looked at the Lord of Undead Spirits. If the distance between him and his doppelganger was not too far, they could naturally sense everything that the other party saw, and he had also sensed what had happened on the sacred mountain of the Undead Spirit clan. Despicable and shameless guy. The Lord of the Undead Spirits gritted his teeth and said, This guy is too cunning. He actually pestered me here, but secretly sent a doppelganger to the sacred mountain to steal the formation platform hidden in the Bone Palace. Haha, this is really funny. I'm despicable and shameless, but you've lost to me. If I hadn't shown you mercy, do you think you would still be alive? Gu Fei laughed. With the 4 great Tao weapons in hand, who on the entire island of the Undead Spirits could be a match for him? If he had used the 3 Pure One's secret technique, the Lord of the Undead Spirits would not have been able to deal with him. He would have directly received his lunchbox, and would not have let the Lord of the Undead Spirits squabble here. You! The Undead Spirit Lord thought about it, and realized that it was true. It had taken him a lot of effort to escape from that sword, and he didn't want to die just like that. He didn't want to die yet. What exactly do you want? The Lord of the Undead Spirits had no choice but to lower his head. We don't have to be enemies, don't you think? Gu-Fei said with a smile. Although the Lord of Undead Spirits seemed to have lowered his head to him, he knew that someone like the Lord of Undead Spirits, who had lived for countless years, could not be trusted. Yes, we don't have to be enemies, the Lord of the Undead Spirits said with a smile. Let's go to your sacred mountain first. After saying that, Gu-Fei took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void. The Undead Spirits Island formation was still, Island, Dead Spirits Gu was still operating. And started. Island. The Sea and Spirits. Gu. And He-Fei Saint. At this time, the protective formation of the Island of the Undead Spirits was still operating. The broken parts of the formation were repairing themselves, and the scattered formation lines were reassembling. Many living creatures outside the island wanted to enter the Island of the Undead Spirits, but they did not dare to go near it. They were not Gu-Fei. They did not dare to challenge the formation. If they were not careful, they would be destroyed in body and soul. To a cultivator, the destruction of body and soul was the most thorough way to die. They would not even be able to become a ghost. At this time, all the experts of the Undead Spirit clan were rushing towards the sacred place. They had received the news that the sacred place had been invaded by outsiders. Rumble! Deep in the Island of the Undead Spirits, at the peak of the sacred mountain, powerful energy waves spread. The entire void was shaking. Two figures were moving quickly in the void, fighting fiercely. The two experts who were fighting were Gu-Fei's doppelganger and the dead spirit with an immortal body. The power of the dead spirit had exceeded the expectations of Gu-Fei's avatar. This fellow was like a real living creature, and there was even the sound of wind and thunder as his qi and blood circulated rapidly within his body. This caused Gu-Fei's clone to feel incredulous. After all, a creature that had been reborn from the dead should not have such a powerful aura within its body. The undead spirit's body was circulating, but the difference was that it was bursting with a monstrous death aura. Rays of death visible to the naked eye shot out from the dead spirit's body and pierced through Gu-Fei's clone. Every ray of death left a pitch-black spatial crack in the void where it passed. You want to be born from death and turn the death chi in your body into vitality, Gu-Fei's doppelganger said as he fought with the undead spirit. Can I? The undead spirit sneered. He waved his hands, and 10 beams of sword light shot out from his hands, killing towards Gu-Fei's clone. Sure, why not? Gu-Fei's doppelganger said in amusement. Be obedient and let me devour you, and I might be able to reverse life and death, the undead spirit said while attacking. Are you stupid or am I stupid? You want me to be devoured by you? Go to hell, Gu-Fei's clone said angrily. Does this guy really think he's an extreme grade supreme being? Even if an extreme grade supreme being wants me dead, I'll give him a punch. That's not up to you. The undead spirit's cold voice sounded again. At this moment, even though Gu-Fei's clone had yet to truly fall, the undead spirit had already gained the upper hand. The outcome of this battle seemed to have been decided. However, Gu-Fei's clone was no pushover either. He had cultivated the 9 secrets of the Immortal's Path. Even though the undead spirit was stronger than him, it wasn't going to be an easy task for him to defeat him. Swoosh! Gu-Fei's clone disappeared into the void right away. His body had melded with the heaven and earth. This was the anti-void secret skill. At the sight of this, the undead spirit was taken aback. His attack had missed, but a large area of the void had instantly crumbled and turned into primal chaos. You think that you're in control of everything? What a joke! The consciousness of Gu-Fei's clone spread out in the void. However, his figure was still invisible, as he had melded with the void around him as one. If you've got the guts, come and fight me out in the open! What's the point of being sneaky? The undead spirit roared out. He could not help but be moved. He realized that he could not sense the existence of this outsider at all. How could this be? The undead spirit was sweating profusely right now. If he were to be caught by this outsider, his reputation would definitely be swept to the ground. Break! The undead spirit was going all out now. He unleashed his strongest power right away, causing the void around him to shatter as a series of pitch-black cracks extended out into the distance. Chapter 3301. Gu Fei's clone had met his match. The dead spirit with an immortal body was extremely powerful. The battle power it displayed was far beyond his expectations. Rumble! At that moment, a supreme power of death burst forth from the body of the dead spirit. The void trembled like waves before a series of ferocious cracks appeared in the void. As the force spread, a figure was directly shaken out of the void. The person who was shaken out was Gu Fei's clone. This guy. Gu Fei's clone was taken aback. Just at this moment, a fist directly smashed towards him. He hurriedly sent out a palm strike to block the attack. Bam! With a muffled sound, Gu Fei's clone felt a great force coming from his opponent's fist. In the next moment, he felt a sharp pain in his right arm. The bones in his forearm had been shaken and broken. When Gu Fei's clone's right forearm was broken by the opponent's punch, he felt as if he had been hit by a huge mountain, and he was immediately sent flying backward. The dead spirit in charge of the Bone Palace was too powerful. The power contained in its immortal body erupted. Not only did it shake Gu Fei's clone out of the void, but it also sent Gu Fei's clone flying with a punch. Swoosh! The dead spirit approached Gu Fei's clone with a single step. It was so fast that even Gu Fei's clone was shocked. One must know that Gu Fei's clone possessed the 8 steps extreme speed. Although he was shocked by the dead spirit's speed, he did not panic in the face of danger. Gu Fei's clone used his extreme speed 8 steps in time. With just a single step, he instantly rushed out from the peak of the sacred mountain. In the next moment, a powerful energy fluctuation erupted from his body. The aura on his body began to soar. In an instant, the entire world was shaken by the powerful aura that erupted from his body. What? The undead spirit beast that was chasing after Gu Fei was startled by the sudden burst of aura coming from Gu Fei's clone. The energy fluctuations coming from this guy's body were rapidly increasing. Gu Fei's clone's battle prowess soared. In a flash, he charged at the dead spirit that was chasing after him. A huge hand appeared in the void and immediately enveloped the entire sky. Visible rays of immortal light circled around his body. A powerful immortal aura dispersed the aura of death in the surroundings. Gu Fei's clone was an immortal clone that cultivated the power of the immortal path. Therefore, the 9 secrets of immortal Tao were even more powerful in the hands of Gu Fei's clone. This was because he had the sacred body of the immortal path, which allowed him to display the true power of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao. In the end, Gu Fei's clone still used one of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, the Ascension secret art. The power of Ascension surged through his body, causing his strength to soar. In just a few breaths of time, the potential of Gu Fei's clone was perfectly stimulated. Good fellow! Seeing this, Gu Fei's clone couldn't help but admit that Xian Zhu was a good opponent. His cultivation had probably reached the same realm as Tsung Kei and the demonic rock lady. Swish! At this moment, Xian Zhu directly stepped out from the void beside Gu Fei's clone. His powerful fist directly smashed towards Gu Fei's clone. Although it seemed like a simple punch, it caused Gu Fei's clone to be shocked once again. Because this punch actually displayed an invincible fist intent. There was no way to dodge such an attack, so he could only take it head-on. If he retreated, the fist would instantly smash into Gu Fei's doppelganger, causing an even greater force to erupt. Gu Fei's clone clearly knew how terrifying this attack was. Therefore, he wouldn't retreat. Roar! Gu Fei's clone roared in anger. All the power in his body surged towards his right fist. Without any hesitation, he directly punched out. Endless immortal light immediately erupted from his right fist. It was like an incomparably dazzling sun had appeared, illuminating the dusky world. Chapter 3302. Invincible Fist Intent versus Invincible Fist Intent. Gu Fei's clone and Xian Zu's clone collided head-on. This was a confrontation of pure strength, and also the simplest confrontation. Whoever was stronger would be able to defeat the other. There were no tricks. Of course, whether it was Gu Fei's clone or Xian Zu, either of them dared to use any tricks at this time because doing so would be equivalent to courting death. In front of absolute strength, no one dared to do so. The strength of Gu Fei's clone and Xian Zu's clone was enough to suppress everything. No one knew what would happen when these two invincible fist energies collided. There were very few existences that could cultivate their battle skills to the invincible realm. However, Xian Zu was one such existence, and Gu Fei's clone was also one such existence. When the two experts met, a fierce battle would naturally erupt. As for who would win, not even Gu Fei's real body could tell. Boom! The two fists instantly collided. Two invincible fist intents instantly erupted to their strongest state. In the next moment, the sound of bones breaking resounded. There was no powerful fluctuation of energy, only ripples visible to the naked eye appeared in the space between the two experts. The majority of the energy didn't leak out, it was used on the opponent's fist. The two experts retreated at the same time as their arms drooped down. What? Xian Zu was indescribably shocked. It was hard to imagine that an outsider could actually injure him. The bones of his right arm were actually broken by this outsider. Of course, Gu Fei's clone didn't have it any better because his injuries were even more severe. The bones of his entire arm were broken into more than 10 pieces. Some of the bones even pierced through his flesh. However, in the next moment, the right arm of Gu Fei's clone began to tremble. The broken bones began to connect. The necrotic flesh and bones began to fall off from the arm, while the missing flesh and bones began to regenerate. In just a few breaths of time, the right arm of Gu Fei's clone had completely recovered. It was as if it had never been injured. Again. The two experts clashed once again. Dull sounds of collisions rang out continuously, and transparent ripples appeared continuously in the sky. The ancestor of dead spirits, Xian Zu, possessed an immortal body. His physical body's recovery ability was even more shocking. In just an instant, his right arm was completely healed. Who do you think will win? At this moment, two figures appeared in the distant sky. They completely ignored the devouring power of the huge black hole above the sacred mountain. Even Gu Fei's clone and Xian Zu weren't devoured by the heaven-devouring power that descended from the sky, let alone the other two experts. How would I know? Another figure said snappily. This figure was shrouded in a cloud of deathly mist. His silhouette was faintly discernible, and no one could see his true face. The fellow shrouded in deathly aura was the Lord of Dead Spirits, and the being beside the Lord of Dead Spirits was Gu Fei's real body. They had already arrived nearby, but they did not intervene in the battle. At this moment, many experts from the Dead Spirit clan saw that the Lord of Dead Spirits was actually standing together with the outsider. What was going on? Many of the Dead Spirits found it hard to accept. Bang! At this moment, Gu Fei's clone was forced back by Xian Zu once again. Even after using his final trump card, he was still suppressed by Xian Zu. This caused him to be both shocked and furious. Humph, you aren't my opponent at all. Obediently accept your death. Xian Zu sneered. He took a step forward and directly appeared in front of Gu Fei's clone. Without any hesitation, he punched out again. Gu Fei's clone had no choice but to face it head-on. As long as he retreated, his opponent's attack would be like a torrential storm. There were only two outcomes. One was to die, and the other was to be heavily injured. No matter which one it wasn't a good thing for Gu Fei's clone. The result of the head-on clash was that Gu Fei's clone was sent flying. The power from the other party's fist was too great, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard from Gu Fei's right arm. Preposterous! Gu Fei's clone was about to go crazy. He didn't bring any Supreme Tao treasures with him. Otherwise, this fellow would have been killed by him long ago. At this time, Gu Fei's doppelganger and Xian Zhu didn't notice that the number of dead spirit clan's experts around the holy mountain had increased. All the experts of the dead spirit clan were looking at the scene in the sky with inexplicable shock. How can there be two outsiders who look exactly the same? An expert from the dead spirit clan suddenly said. Hearing this, the other dead spirits were incomparably shocked. Because they had already discovered that the fellow fighting against Xian Zhu looked exactly the same as the black-robed youth standing beside the dead spirit lord. Whether it was appearance or clothes, they were exactly the same. Even the boots on their feet were exactly the same. How is this possible? An expert from the dead spirit clan said with a trembling voice. That's a clone. Such words came out from the dead spirit clan. A clone is already so powerful. Hearing this, the other experts of the dead spirit clan were indescribably shocked. All right, let's stop here. In the distant sky, Gu Fei said. If they continued to fight, it wouldn't be beneficial to either side. One should know that if they continued to fight, it was very likely that both sides would be injured. The dead spirit lord also nodded. At this time, Gu Fei's clone roared and pounced towards Xian Zhu like an injured beast. Extremely tyrannical energy fluctuations erupted from his body. At the same time, Xian Zhu also pounced towards Gu Fei's clone. However, at the instant when the two experts were about to collide once more, a figure descended from the sky. After that, the figure separated his hands and directly blocked the ferocious attacks of the two experts. What? Gu Fei's clone was truly shocked. He focused his gaze and saw that the person who easily blocked his fist was actually the dead spirit lord. When Gu Fei's clone saw the dead spirit lord, he was shocked once again. It's you! At this time, Xian Zhu was also shocked. The dead spirit lord had actually returned. Buzz! At this moment, a rumbling sound rang out in the void. A powerful energy spread out from the dead spirit lord's body. In the next moment, Gu Fei's clone and Xian Zhu couldn't help but retreat. This guy! Gu Fei's clone was indescribably shocked. The strength of the dead spirit lord had far surpassed his imagination. If the dead spirit lord wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as blowing off dust. This caused sweat to appear on his forehead. Chapter 3303. There was no doubt that the Lord of the Dead Spirits was powerful. Even if Gu Fei's doppelganger possessed 80% of his real body's battle prowess, it was still far from being a match for the strongest dead spirit. Gu Fei's doppelganger was fighting against the second strongest expert of the Dead Spirits clan, Xian Zhu. However, the Lord of the Dead Spirits suddenly descended from the sky and forcefully separated the two experts. The battle prowess displayed by the Lord of the Dead Spirits shocked Gu Fei's doppelganger. Of course, Gu Fei's real body and doppelganger were connected telepathically, so they could sense each other's feelings. Although the Lord of the Dead Spirits was powerful, Gu Fei was stronger. The main character is here? Xian Zhu, who had been forced to retreat, had already noticed Gu Fei. He could see through Gu Fei's strength with a single glance. This was because Gu Fei was surrounded by 4 Supreme Tao treasures. The mighty energy fluctuations from the 4 Supreme Tao treasures were too shocking. The space around Gu Fei was unable to withstand the mighty energy ripples emanating from the extreme Tao artifact. Thus, it kept shattering before reforming, repeating the cycle. This scene was very frightening. The 4 Supreme Tao treasures appeared on one person at the same time. This was enough to shock Xian Zhu. All right, come back, Gu Fei's real body said to the doppelganger. The doppelganger nodded and took a step forward. In an instant he arrived in front of Gu Fei. Then, the void split open and the doppelganger stepped into the void. What's going on? Xian Zhu looked at the Lord of the Dead Spirits in confusion. Since ancient times, there had never been an outsider who had barged into the Holy Land and survived. However, this tradition seemed to be broken in the Holy Land of the Dead Spirits clan. The Holy Land of the Undead Clan was definitely a forbidden land among forbidden lands for outsiders. But now, an outsider had actually barged into the Holy Land and even arrived at the peak of the Holy Mountain. "What do you mean? What's going on?" The Lord of Undead Spirits shot a cold glance at Xianzhu. Although Xianzhu's cultivation was powerful, he wasn't a match for the current Lord of Undead Spirits. In fact, Xianzhu already knew that the current Lord of Undead Spirits was no longer the Lord of Undead Spirits of the past. This fellow's body had undergone some sort of change. His soul had changed. Of course, Xianzhu did not care about the life or death of the Lord of the Dead Spirits. However, he could not accept that this fellow's cultivation and battle prowess were above his own. It had to be said that regardless of what had happened to the Lord of Dead Spirits, his battle strength had increased by a huge margin. This was an undeniable fact. Originally, Xianzhu was still able to contend against the Necromancer Lord. But now, he had no choice but to submit to the Necromancer Lord, which made him very depressed. "Humph! You seem to have broken the rules here." Xianzhu stared at the Lord of Undead Spirits and said coldly. "Rules? What are rules? What a joke! Rules are set by the strong." The Lord of the Undead Spirits sneered in disdain. "What?" Xianzhu looked at Gu Fei in disbelief. How could he not understand what the Lord of Undead Spirits was implying? Clearly, even the Lord of Undead Spirits wasn't a match for this outsider. Only the strong could set the rules, and the weak could only follow them. Gu Fei paid no attention to Xianzhu. His figure flashed, and he arrived before the Bone Palace. He did not enter rashly. Instead, he looked in through the door of the Bone Palace and saw a wooden formation platform. He couldn't help feeling overjoyed. After that, he extended his right hand and a powerful suction force immediately surged out from his hand. It charged into the Bone Palace and enveloped the wooden formation platform. Gu Fei exerted his strength in an attempt to pull the formation platform out. However, the formation platform within the Bone Palace did not move at all. It was as if it had taken root in the ground. The Lord of the Undead Spirits did not stop him because he knew that with Gu Fei's cultivation and battle strength, it was impossible for him to defend the formation platform. Even if he resisted, the formation platform would be taken away in the end. Since the outcome would be the same, why should he resist? The Lord of the Undead Spirits had existed for countless years, so he naturally wouldn't do such a stupid thing. It was important to preserve his strength, and he wouldn't ask for trouble. At this moment, Gu Fei was a little surprised. The wooden formation platform was very heavy. His grab was actually unable to pull it out. This Bone Palace was not ordinary. Gu Fei did not want to enter such a building so easily. Who knew what was inside the Bone Palace other than the formation platform? The Lord of the Undead Spirits, and Xianzhu watched from the side without saying anything. "Humph!" Gu Fei coldly snorted. He exerted force with his right hand and an even more powerful suction force erupted from his hand. At this moment, the wooden formation platform in the Bone Palace moved. Although the wooden formation platform was moving, the power from Gu Fei's hand was still not strong enough. Hee! Gu Fei suddenly retracted his right hand and the devouring power immediately disappeared. The formation platform in the Bone Palace also stopped vibrating. "If you don't want me to smash this thing, go and get the formation platform out." Gu Fei suddenly turned around and said to the Lord of the Undead Spirits and Xianzhu, who were watching from the side. "What?" The Lord of the Undead Spirits and Xianzhu were both shocked. At this moment, Gu Fei extended his hand and the mountain and river cauldron beside him flew into his hand. An aura that seemed to originate from the universe was emitted from the mountain and river cauldron. Sensing this aura, the Lord of the Undead Spirits and Xianzhu were shocked. It was obvious that the god within the Tao artifact was still in a deep sleep. However, once the god within the Tao artifact awakened, it would definitely be a disaster for the Undead Spirit clan. "Don't!" Seeing that Gu Fei was really going to use the ancient cauldron to smash the Bone Palace, the Lord of the Undead Spirits hurriedly rushed over. Once the ancient cauldron was smashed, the consequences would be unpredictable. Once things went out of control, it wouldn't benefit anyone, especially the undead spirit clan. The current Lord of the Undead Spirits had refined and fused with the original Lord of the Undead Spirit's soul. He still had feelings for the Undead Spirit clan, and he couldn't watch the Undead Spirit clan perish. In fact, this went against the Lord of the Undead Spirit's heart. He had been sealed in the ominous sword for countless years. Once he was free, he would naturally want to go far away. However, the mistake was that he had fused with the original Lord of the Undead Spirit's soul. This caused a problem. The fusion of the two souls naturally resulted in the birth of a new soul. In other words, whether it was the original Lord of the Undead Spirits, or the ancient existence in the ominous sword, they were no longer pure selves. The Lord of the Undead Spirits directly rushed into the Bone Palace. Then, with a wave of his hand, the bone inscriptions dissipated. It turned out that the entire wooden teleportation formation platform was enveloped by a layer of bone inscriptions, and was sealed by the power of the Bone Palace. I see. Gu Fei understood when he saw this. It turned out that the Lord of the Undead Spirits had done something and sealed the formation platform with the power of a formation. No wonder it was difficult for him to move the formation platform out of the Bone Palace. At this moment, the Lord of the Undead Spirits had already carried the formation platform and walked out of the Bone Palace. He didn't know how to control the formation platform, so he couldn't make it expand or shrink at will. Therefore, he could only carry the formation platform out. This is what you wanted. I hope you can keep your promise. After the Lord of the Undead Spirits walked out of the Bone Palace, he placed the formation platform in front of Gu Fei and took a few steps back. I will definitely keep my promise. Gu Fei glanced at the Lord of the Undead Spirits and said. Then, his gaze landed on the formation platform. The formation platform was only 3 meters tall and a few meters wide. It wasn't very big. Compared to the formation platform, it was already very small. The formation platform was pitch black, and there were natural patterns intertwining on it. The formation platform was very inconspicuous. Even if it was thrown on the road, no one would take a second look. Indeed, this ordinary and small array platform could allow all living beings to travel back and forth between the two worlds. This was the door that led to the other world. In fact, at Gu Fei's level of cultivation, he naturally had to keep his promise. It wasn't difficult to send these guys out of the Black Demon Sea. All right, go and get ready. I'll first study this formation platform, then I'll send you guys out. Gu Fei said as he walked onto the formation platform. He could sense an extremely ancient aura being emitted from the formation platform. The Lord of the Undead Spirits and Xian Zhu were both surprised and overjoyed. No one wanted to stay in the Black Demon Sea. They all wanted to leave. The two experts of the Undead Spirit clan immediately got into action. Gu Fei no longer paid attention to the two guys. He carefully observed the patterns on the formation platform. This formation platform was definitely a pair with the one he had obtained previously. This type of wood came from the same source, so Gu Fei recognized it with a single glance. He had seen how the demonic rock lady had activated the formation platform. It seemed that it was not difficult for him to activate the formation platform. An hour later, the Lord of the Undead Spirits and Xian Zhu returned. They didn't bring anyone back with them, and just returned to the sacred mountain. Rumble. When Gu Fei saw the two guys return, he immediately activated the formation platform. A powerful energy fluctuation immediately spread from the formation platform. Patterns began to appear on the pitch-black formation platform. Each pattern was emitting a dazzling light. This is... The Lord of the Undead Spirits and Xian Zhu were shocked. They couldn't activate the formation platform no matter how hard they tried, but Gu Fei was able to activate the island with a raise of his hand. How did he do it? The Lord of the Undead Spirits and Xian Zhu were indescribably shocked. Just as Gu Fei was activating the formation platform, a formation platform on top of a mountain in the Chaos Demon realm shook without any warning. What? All the cultivators on the mountain were startled by the sudden change. The formation platform of the Willow Demon clan was actually reacting. Didn't this mean that Gu Fei was about to return? At this time, on the peak of the sacred mountain of the undead spirit clan in the Black Demon Sea of the ancestral god realm, a formation platform emitted incomparably dazzling rays of light. The rays of light even shot into the void. Chapter 3304. The protective formation of the Island of the Dead Souls had been removed, but no one dared to enter the Island of the Dead Souls. Anyone who entered the Island of the Dead Souls at this time would be viewed as an enemy by the Dead Souls on the Island of the Dead Souls. Of course, the experts were fearless. Many powerful figures entered the Island of the Dead Souls and disappeared from the island. At this moment, a golden figure rushed over from the sky. It was a divine bird that was emitting a dazzling golden radiance. The divine bird spread its wings and rushed to the sky above the Island of the Dead Souls like a golden rainbow. The divine bird stopped high up in the sky, and its divine aura spread out, dispersing the aura of death around it. With a flash of golden light, the divine bird in the sky disappeared in an instant. A figure appeared from within the golden light. It was a woman, a beautiful woman with golden hair. The woman was emitting golden divine radiance from head to toe, and even every strand of hair on her head was glowing. The Shin clan? The nearby living beings of the Black Demon Sea were shocked when they saw the woman. The people from the Divine Island had actually come, and they appeared openly on the Island of the Dead Souls. The Divine Island and the Island of the Dead Souls were enemies, and the Shin clan and the Undead clan had formed an irreconcilable feud since a long time ago. The Shin clan and the Undead clan had been fighting each other for countless years, but neither had been able to eliminate the other. The reason was actually very simple: both races had their own trump cards. Moreover, the distance between the Divine Island and the Island of the Dead Souls was very far. However, it was extremely rare for a Shin clan expert to appear alone on the Island of the Dead Souls. Could something big have happened again? All the living beings of the Black Demon Sea were guessing that the war between the Shin clan and the Undead clan would definitely shake the entire Black Demon Sea. However, the Shin clan expert directly rushed into the Island of the Dead Souls. What? Challenging the entire Undead clan single-handedly? The living beings of the Black Demon Sea were inexplicably shocked when they saw this scene. It was an absolutely crazy move, and it was equivalent to suicide. No one would be stupid enough to commit suicide. However, the God Race powerhouse had no intention of hiding his tracks at all. The divine presence that erupted from his body immediately alarmed countless dead souls on the Island of Dead Souls. At that moment, a dead spirit appeared on the mountain ridge below. Then, it stretched out its hand and grabbed at the figure that was flying through the sky. Rumble! A huge skeletal hand appeared between heaven and earth, grabbing the figure in the sky. However, in the next moment, boom! With a bang, the skeletal hand exploded. A golden figure walked out and swooped down from the sky. What? The dead spirit on the peak of the mountain was startled. The cultivation of this God Race powerhouse who broke into the Island of the Dead Spirits seemed to be very powerful. This made his heart palpitate. At this moment, a gust of astral wind swept down from the sky. Sand and pebbles flew everywhere on the mountain peak, and trees were uprooted and sent flying. A figure descended from the sky. It was as terrifying as a golden sun falling from the sky. No! The dead spirit on the mountain peak was scared out of his wits. He wanted to avoid it, but it was too late. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire mountain peak suddenly exploded. Divine power erupted and the entire mountain collapsed. The powerhouse from the Dead Spirit clan who stood on the mountain peak naturally suffered a tragedy. Both his body and soul were directly destroyed. Not even a complete bone could be found. Rumble! The entire area was shaking. Dust spread in all directions, covering the sky. It did not disperse for a long time. The creatures that lived nearby scrambled to escape. At the same time, a golden figure broke through the heavy dust and rushed out. It shot up into the sky and arrived high up in the sky. You overestimate yourself! With that, she turned around and turned into a golden light. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared into the void and rushed into the depths of the island of the dead spirits. At this moment, on the peak of the sacred mountain of the dead spirit clan, Gu Fei was activating the wooden formation platform. Soon, the power of the formation platform was displayed. A pitch-black hole appeared in the sky above the formation platform. This is... Seeing this scene, the Lord of the Dead Spirits was extremely excited. Even the number 2 powerhouse of the Dead Spirit clan, Xian Zhu, was dumbfounded. Could that be the passage that connected the two worlds? To the Dead Spirit clan, only by leaving the Black Demon Sea could they continue to pass down their lineage. If they stayed in the Black Demon Sea, the only outcome would be the extinction of the clan. At this moment, a figure walked out of Gu Fei's body. It was his immortal clone. He watched as his clone walked into the black hole and disappeared inside. Just as Gu Feidong's doppelganger entered the black hole created by the wooden platform, a powerful divinity aura suddenly came from afar. The moment Gu Fei sensed the divine aura, he knew who it was. It was the Golden Rock Goddess. She had come to this god-forsaken place with great curiosity, but she soon realized how terrifying this place was. The storm of death here was enough to destroy everything. Only by hiding in the islands could one survive. She almost perished in the Black Demon Sea and became one of the countless living beings that perished in the Black Demon Sea. This was definitely a disgrace to her. One had to admit that the Golden Rock Goddess was really lucky. Due to a coincidence, she ascended the Divine Island and escaped the storm of death that almost took her life. At this time, the Golden Rock Goddess naturally came to take a look when she heard that an outsider was attacking the Dead Spirit Island. When the Golden Rock Goddess arrived near the Dead Spirit Island, she sensed a familiar aura. It was Gu Fei's aura. As expected, the existence that was attacking the Dead Spirit Island, the so-called outsider, was actually Gu Fei. The God Clan? At this time, Xian Zhu raised his head and saw a figure descending from the sky like an immortal. His divine aura was vast and mighty. Humph! Xian Zhu sneered. He directly rushed out from the mountain peak and attacked the Golden Rock Goddess in the sky. There was nothing much to say. Once the experts of the Dead Spirit Clan and the God Clan encountered each other, a great battle would definitely break out. They would not rest until one side was dead, and the other side might even perish together. Gu Fei did not stop him, and the two experts instantly clashed. At this time, an incomparably powerful aura came from the passage opened by the formation platform. A powerful living being was crossing over. Chapter 3305. Gu Fei operated the transboundary formation platform and successfully opened up a passageway between the two worlds. At the same time, the Golden Rock Goddess barged into the island of the Dead Spirits, and killed her way into the sacred land of the Dead Spirits clan. Just as the Golden Rock Goddess and the second strongest expert of the Dead Spirits clan were fighting, an incomparably powerful aura was emitted from the passageway that Gu Fei had opened up. An expert had actually crossed over at this time. Although Gu Fei was still very calm, the Lord of the Dead Spirits and the other experts of the Dead Spirits clan were indescribably shocked. Even the Lord of the Dead Spirits was greatly shocked. The Dead Spirits clan could finally move out of the island of the Dead Spirits. Although they knew nothing about the world on the other side of the passageway, it was definitely much better than the Black Demon Sea. He had once killed his way into that world, and the vitality of that world was much stronger than the Black Demon Sea. Of course, the living beings there were also incomparably powerful. Gu Fei's cultivation and battle strength made him feel great pressure. Boom! Bang! At this moment, a dull collision sound pulled the Lord of the Dead Spirits' consciousness back to reality. High up in the sky, Xian Zhu and the God Race expert were fighting endlessly. For a moment, it was hard to tell who would win. Even Xian Zhu can't take down this God Race expert. The Lord of the Dead Spirits looked up into the sky and couldn't help feeling a little impatient. Just as he was about to make a move to get rid of the God Race expert, a figure stepped out from the spatial passageway above the formation platform. Boom! The dazzling golden light instantly lit up the entire dark world. The body of the powerful creature that crossed over from the other world actually burst out with dazzling golden light. The golden light shone on all the dead spirits present, making them feel as if they were being burned by fire. God race. The Lord of the Dead Spirits was truly shocked. He had never imagined that the living being that had crossed over was actually an unimaginably powerful God race expert. It was an old man with a head full of white hair. He was tall and had a majestic appearance. The old man's body was emitting a vast and mighty golden radiance, as though a golden divine fire was dancing. Although he was only standing in the void, he had an invincible aura that overlooked the world. It's him. Gu Fei recognized the newcomer. It was Ping Jingtian of the Golden Rock race, the grandfather of the Golden Rock goddess. Humph! Ping Jingtian coldly snorted when he saw the Golden Ping goddess fighting Xian Zhu. All the Death Spirit clan's experts felt their souls shaking. However, he did not make a move. Instead, he took a step forward and arrived in front of Gu Fei. Greetings, Senior Gu. Ping Jingtian nodded at Gu Fei. Gu Fei and Tsang Ke were of the same generation. Ping Jingtian was Tsang Ke's descendant, so in front of Gu Fei, he was naturally a junior. Why are you here? Gu Fei looked at Ping Jingtian and said. The old ancestor was worried, so he sent me over to take a look. Ping Jingtian said calmly. In fact, his cultivation level was similar to Gu Fei's. Although he considered himself a junior in front of Gu Fei, he was neither servile nor overbearing. Tsang Ke came out from his seclusion? Gu Fei asked. When he left the Chaos Devil world, Tsang Ke was still in seclusion. This time, Tsang Ke was gravely injured and it would take some time for him to fully recover. The old ancestor is fine now. Thank you for your concern, Senior Gu, Ping Jingtian said. And that's good, Gu Fei said. At this moment, the Lord of the Dead Spirits stared at Ping Jingtian with vigilance. One should know that the Death Spirit clan and the God clan were mortal enemies. What? You want to fight? Ping Jingtian looked at the Lord of the Undead Spirits with a pair of piercing eyes. Humph, if you want to fight, let's fight. The Lord of the Dead Spirits stared at Ping Jingtian and said coldly. You think I'm afraid of you? Ping Jingtian was incomparably domineering. He turned around and walked towards the Lord of the Dead Spirits. Gu Fei did not say anything. He was too lazy to care about these things. Very well, follow me if you have the guts. The Lord of the Undead Spirits took a deep look at Ping Jingtian. Then, he soared into the sky and directly rushed out from the peak of the Holy Mountain, leaving the Holy Mountain in an instant. Ping Jingtian followed closely behind. With his level of cultivation, he was not afraid of any of the Lord of Undead Spirits' schemes. In the face of absolute power, all schemes and tricks were useless. The two experts left the sacred ground of the Death Spirit clan. The Lord of the Dead Spirits brought Ping Jingtian to the depths of the primordial mountain on the island of the Dead Spirits. All right, let's go. The Lord of the Dead Spirits stopped and turned to Ping Jingtian. So this is the place you chose to be buried? Very well, I will send you on your way here, Ping Jingtian said. A strong divine power exploded from his body. His white hair fluttered even though there was no wind. A terrifying pressure spread in all directions. The living beings in the mountains were terrified. Roars of unknown beasts could be heard from the primordial mountain. There were many strong living beings hiding in the primordial mountain. But at this time, these unknown living beings were quickly retreating from the area. The aura that erupted from Ping Jingtian and the Lord of the Dead Spirits was too strong. You are wrong. This is the place I chose for you to be buried, the Lord of the Dead Spirits said. Is that so? Let's see who will have the last laugh. Ping Jingtian's fighting spirit was like a rainbow. His blood was boiling. He stared at the Lord of the Dead Spirits opposite him. His sharp eyes seemed to be able to pierce through the dead spirits. The two experts were facing each other. At this time, another figure appeared in the sky above the sacred mountain. Another expert from the celestial race had crossed over. It was a strong middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was the expert of the Golden Rock race, Ping Shi. He was also the uncle of the Golden Rock goddess. The 3 experts of the Golden Rock race in the chaotic demon realm were all here except for their ancestor. Sun Quebec Sun K had to stay in the chaotic demon realm. One must know that the Willow Demon Clan and the Stone Demon Clan were like tigers eyeing their prey. Without Sun K and the Golden Rock Goddess, those fellows would definitely take back their respective teleportation platforms. At that time, Gu Fei and the others could forget about returning to the chaotic demon realm. They would be trapped in the Black Demon Sea. Bang! At this time, a muffled sound came from the sky. A golden figure descended from the sky. It was Xian Zhu. The Golden Rock Goddess' combat strength was still not as strong as Xian Zhu, the second strongest expert of the Dead Spirit Clan. She was still lacking. Xian Zhu, on the other hand, had rich combat experience. Roar! The Golden Rock Goddess angrily roared. She stabilized her body and was about to charge forward again. However, at this moment, a figure soared into the sky and blocked Xian Zhu's attack. Who are you? Chapter 3306. Gu Fei activated the ancient transmission formation at the top of the sacred mountain of the Dead Spirit Clan, and successfully opened up a passage between the Black Demon Sea and the Chaos Demon Realm. The Dead Spirit Clan was naturally pleasantly surprised, but the Lord of the Dead Spirit Clan's joy didn't last for long before tragedy befell him. That was because the living beings on the other side of the passage had crossed over before him. It was Ping Jingtian and Ping Shi of the Golden Rock Clan. They had been waiting for the goddess of Golden Rock and Gu Fei to come back from the other side of the Chaos Demon Realm, but they did not come back, so they were naturally anxious. The ancestral god realm was full of experts in their era, and even if Gu Fei went there, he might not be able to compete with the supreme experts of that realm. One should know that the ancestral god realm was guarded by a supreme god ancestor, otherwise, how could they conquer the Chaos Demon Realm, and even attack the Demon Realm? The wooden formation platform in the Chaos Demon Realm suddenly reacted, and everyone was pleasantly surprised. Peng Jingtian and Peng Shi, who had been waiting bitterly, directly rushed into the passage after it stabilized. The appearance of the 2 experts from the Divine Clan shocked countless people of the Dead Spirit Clan. In the next moment, Peng Jingtian directly fought with the Lord of Dead Spirits. This was a big deal on the island of the Dead Spirits. How could there be another existence in the Divine Clan who could compete with the Lord of Dead Spirits? It was no wonder that the Dead Spirit Clan was so nervous, because this would break the balance of power between the Dead Spirit Clan and the Divine Clan. The Undead Spirit Clan only had the Lord of the Undead Spirits, and the God Clan only had the Clan Lord of the God Clan who could contend against the Lord of the Undead Spirits. However, this existence who had fought endlessly with the Lord of the Undead Spirits was not the God Clan Lord at all. Peng Jingtian was an expert second only to Sun Ke, and the vast divine aura from his body shrouded the entire island of the Dead Spirits, and all the Dead Spirits on the island could feel this aura. All the Dead Spirits were inexplicably shocked. However, the one who was the most shocked was the Lord of the Undead Spirits. The Lord of the Undead Spirits was truly shocked by Peng Jingtian's power. Could it be that the other side of the tunnel was the celestial race's territory? He had a feeling that he had been cheated. Gu Fei must have known about the situation at the other end of the transboundary passage, which was why he readily agreed to help the undead spirit race leave the Black Demon Sea. However, with how powerful Gu Fei was, it wouldn't be difficult for him to exterminate the Undead Spirit Clan. Why did he have to trick her? The Lord of the Undead Spirits moved quickly in the air, clashing with Peng Jingtian. 2 violent forces clashed with each other, creating thunderous sounds. Transparent ripples constantly appeared in the void, spreading out in all directions like water waves. Good fellow, I underestimated you. Peng Jingtian was shocked. This guy, who was covered in death chi, could actually fight against him. This guy's combat power was definitely not weaker than his. The Lord of Undead Spirits harumphed coldly but did not say anything. Boom! The Lord of the Undead Spirits punched out, causing the void to explode. The extremely terrifying power of death erupted, and the vitality of the entire void was instantly cut off. Countless flowers and trees on the vibrant mountain ridges withered in an instant, and endless vitality was forcibly extracted. The island of the undead spirits was full of vitality, but because the undead spirit race had been entrenched here for countless years, the vitality here had more or less been affected and weakened. Ping Jingtian's white hair danced wildly. He roared and also punched at the lord of the undead spirits, with powerful divine power erupting from his fist. A dazzling golden light bloomed on his fist, as if a golden divine sun had appeared in the sky. The entire void shook along with his punch. Boom! With a loud bang, the two fists collided in an instant, and destructive power waves immediately spread out in all directions. The two figures moved quickly. The two experts were like two gods of destruction. Wherever they went, the void exploded, and even the chaotic aura was blasted out. Ping Jingtian and the Lord of the Undead Spirits were evenly matched in terms of cultivation and combat power. It would definitely not be easy for these two experts to determine a victor. At this time, in the sky above the sacred mountain of the undead spirit race, Ping Shi and the second in command of the undead spirit race, Xian Zhu, were also locked in battle. The Golden Rock Goddess did not join forces with her uncle, but retreated to the side to watch the battle. Gu Fei, on the other hand, took a chair out of nowhere and sat on it, leisurely watching the intense battle in the sky. He was watching a show. The Golden Rock Goddess saw that Gu Fei did not seem to care about this matter, and she was a little annoyed. In fact, their relationship with Gu Fei wasn't ordinary. They weren't Gu Fei's subordinates, and they didn't interact much with Gu Fei. They basically didn't have any friendship with him. However, the Golden Rock Goddess and the others had only been able to escape because of Gu Fei. It was also because of Gu Fei's friendship with Sun Ke that the Golden Rock Goddess had some misgivings about Gu Fei. It should be known that the Golden Rock Goddess and the others could ignore Gu Fei, but they had no choice but to obey the orders of their ancestors. In fact, it was also because of Sun Ke that Gu Fei did not make a move to subdue the Golden Rock Goddess and the others. Otherwise, how could the Golden Rock Goddess and the others be in such a free and unfettered situation? Perhaps even the Golden Rock Goddess and the others did not know about this. Of course, being Gu Fei's subordinates also gave them a certain amount of freedom, but in the end, they were still servants that were ordered around. At this time, the sacred ground of the Dead Spirit clan attracted the attention of countless experts. Experts from the other two islands had arrived, and even experts from the depths of the Black Devil Sea had risked their lives to enter the Dead Spirit Island. Outside the sacred ground of the Dead Spirit clan, powerful silhouettes appeared from time to time. Gu Fei could naturally sense that there were many experts outside the sacred ground, but he ignored them and continued to watch the battle leisurely. One had to admit that the Golden Rock clan did produce a few experts. The Golden Rock Goddess cultivation was the weakest, followed by Ping Shi. Ping Shi was gradually gaining the upper hand. Swish! The Golden Rock spread its wings. The two golden wings on Ping Shi's back were like heavenly blades, constantly slashing towards Xian Zhu, directly slashing through the void. Xian Zhu carefully received the attack. Both his hands danced as his death energy transformed into bone shields, blocking all the golden saber lights that came slashing at him. Watch how I shatter your tortoise shell! Ping Shi's battle intent surged. He directly brandished his fists and smashed them towards Xian Zhu. Every time he punched out, a supreme power of the divine Tao would erupt, causing the bone shields formed by Xian Zhu to shatter. He was incomparably domineering, closing in on Xian Zhu step by step. This fellow! Xian Zhu was indescribably shocked. Could it be that there were countless experts on the other side of the spatial passageway? Even the living spirit clan wouldn't be able to handle the experts from the three divine races. Die! Xian Zhu roared in rage as he unleashed his killer moves, fighting against Ping Shi. Although he was gradually at a disadvantage, he was still incomparably courageous as he continued to attack Ping Shi. Clang! Facing Xian Zhu's killer move, Ping Shi directly flapped his wings. Golden feathers fell from his wings and flew up. In the next instant, each golden feather transformed into a sky-shaking sword light that pierced towards Xian Zhu. The golden feathers that fell from Ping Shi's wings transformed into sword light that was terrifying to the heavens. Each sword light seemed to be able to cleave the heaven and earth into two. The layers of Death Chi were split apart by the golden sword light, instantly arriving before Xianzhu. Xianzhu was extremely shocked. He didn't even think about it, and directly soared into the sky in order to dodge the golden sword light. However, he was still a step too late. Most of the golden sword lights were dodged by him, but there was still a golden sword light that pierced Xianzhu's calf, directly piercing through it. What? Xianzhu couldn't help but be shocked. This fellow's sword light was actually able to injure his body. Swish! At this time, Peng Shi's figure instantly vanished. When he reappeared, he was already above Xianzhu's head. After that, he stomped down on Xianzhu's head. A powerful destructive force instantly descended from Peng Shi's foot. Damn it! Xianzhu gritted his teeth. Before Peng Shi's foot landed, he rushed out. His calf that was pierced by Peng Shi's sword light had already healed. This kind of undying physique had an astonishing self-healing ability. Death flames! Xianzhu roared and spat out a mouthful of black flames at Peng Shi. This black flame instantly erupted and covered the sky as it burned towards Peng Shi. Wherever the black flames passed, even the void was annihilated. This scene truly gave Peng Shi a fright. Peng Shi flapped his wings, and a gust of strong wind immediately swept forward, blowing away the black flames that had reached him. What? Seeing the black flames he had spat out burn back at him, Xianzhu could not have imagined that his deathly flames would be deflected back at him. Within the death flames, a silhouette soared into the sky and attacked Peng Shi. Peng Shi coldly laughed. His fist trembled as an even more powerful force erupted from his fist. Boom! The two powerhouses clashed again. At this time, Gu Fei, who was guarding the portal, became somewhat impatient. He stood up and took a step forward, directly entering the portal. However, he quickly retreated because another incomparably powerful being had crossed over. This time, it was the three golems that Gu Fei had subdued. A powerful aura emanated from the three golems, causing all the beings who witnessed this scene to be indescribably shocked. What truly frightened them was that the cultivation of these three experts was definitely not below the Lord of Undead Spirits. Chapter 3307. Gu Fei's clone crossed over and returned to the mountain peak in the Chaos Demon world. He gathered his subordinates, and countless powerful beings gathered towards the mountain peak. Black Demon Mountain Lord and the others were originally waiting near the wooden platform and were naturally excited to see Gu Fei's clone return. But when they found out that the other side of the spatial passage was a terrifying dead zone, they were inexplicably shocked. How could the ancestral god realm be a dead zone? At this time, under the dusky sky, Gu Fei's clone stood together with Sun Ke and Magic Rock Lady while the other experts watched from afar. How could there be such a place in the ancestral god realm in the Black Demon Sea? Sun Ke was shocked to learn about the Black Demon Sea from Gu Fei's clone. During his era, there was no such dead zone in the ancestral god realm. The Black Demon Sea was definitely formed after that war. There were no devils in the ancestral god realm, just like there were no gods in the Chaos Demon world. The reason why there were gods in the Chaos Demon world was because the god race invaded the Chaos Demon world in that war. After the war, the god race's path back was cut off and some of the god race wandered in the Chaos Demon world. If there were devils in the ancestral god realm, it was also the result of that war. You don't even know, let alone us! Gu Fei's clone said angrily. Back then, there were also supreme experts of the Chaos Devil race that invaded the ancestral god realm. Could that Black Devil Sea be the place where a supreme devil master died? Magic Rock Lady muttered. She was also a supreme demon master back then, and it was also because of that war that she suffered unimaginable injuries that her cultivation fell from the extreme Dao realm. Even now, Magic Rock Lady's heart still palpitated when she thought of that war. One must know that many supreme demon masters died during the war between the two worlds. It was an extremely dark era where even the strongest existences in the world were in danger. After an extreme path demon master level existence perished, the place where they perished might turn into a desolate region. That's very possible. Song Ke nodded. He was once a supreme divine master, and naturally knew how powerful and terrifying existences of that level were. Even if such existences died, not everyone could approach them. The place where a supreme existence of the extreme Tao fell was definitely a place of great danger. Then what should we do? The other end of the Stone Demon Clan's teleportation formation is a battlefield. Even you almost didn't make it back. The Willow Demon Clan's teleportation formation leads to the Black Demon Sea. How are we going to enter the ancestral god realm? Gu Fei's clone said helplessly. If the Black Demon Sea is the place where a great figure perished, then it will definitely be very dangerous. Perhaps it will be easier to take the path of the Stone Demon Clan. Song Ke pondered for a moment and said, in fact, he had almost broken out of that battlefield. If he could join forces with Gu Fei and the Magic Rock Lady, he was confident that the three of them could definitely kill their way out of that battlefield. Of course, this was only possible if Gu Fei and the Demonic Rock Lady agreed to help. Especially Gu Fei, who had so many extreme Dao treasures on him. Even if he attacked alone, he would still be able to kill his way out of the battlefield. Take the path of the golems. Gu Fei's clone and the Demonic Rock Lady pondered. The Demonic Rock Lady did not want to go to the ancestral god realm because demons would definitely be a public enemy if they appeared in the ancestral god realm. Moreover, no one knew if there were any extreme Dao divine lords in the ancestral god realm. If they were to encounter an invincible divine lord, wouldn't they be in big trouble? To Gu Fei, what he could not find in the Chaos Devil world might be found in the ancestral god realm. The Demonic Rock Lady was a little hesitant about Song Ke's suggestion. She did not want to take the risk, but Gu Fei's clone was a little tempted. Since the path of the Black Demon Sea was not possible, then they would take the path of the golems. Of course, the path of the golems was not a good one. Song Ke was definitely not a weakling, but even he had nearly perished in that battlefield. One could imagine how dangerous that battlefield was. How about it? Song Ke looked at Gu Fei's clone and the Demonic Rock Lady. In that case, let's go and take a look, Gu Fei's clone said. He also wanted to see what was in that extremely dangerous ancient battlefield that could actually injure a former extreme Dao divine lord like Song Ke. Just as they decided to take the path of the golems, in the sacred ground of the Dead Soul Island, Gu Fei's three subordinates crossed over to the Black Demon Sea and made all the living beings extremely nervous. The living beings of the Black Demon Sea had never seen such strange living beings. They were practically three stone men. The three golems had taken human form. Be it the Chaos Demon Ape, the Great Een Demon Spider, or the Dragon Head Demon, all of them had stone bodies. Their bodies were extremely powerful and were comparable to extreme Dao artifacts. It was also because of their supreme physique that the three golems were able to sweep across a region. They had once fought for the primogenitor of the god-destroying demon palace, killing countless experts of the demons and forcing them to flee at the mere sight of them. Of course, the current god-destroying demon palace was already a thing of the past. 6 of the 7 demon ancestors of the god-destroying demon palace had fallen, and only the 6th demon ancestor was still on the run. Chapter 3308. In the Black Demon Sea, in the depths of the Dead Spirit Island, Ping Shi and the second-in-command of the Dead Spirit clan, Xian Zhu, were engaged in an intense battle. One had to admit that Xian Zhu was quite capable to be able to contend against Ping Shi. Ping Shi was a supreme expert who had climbed out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Ping Shi's cultivation had already caught up to his father, Ping Jingtian. Ping Jingtian had 11 sons, but only Ping Shi managed to survive in the cruel primal chaos devil realm. The other 10 died in battle. Ping Shi's strength was undeniable. The Primal Chaos Golden Rock clan was the enemy of all devils in the Primal Chaos Devil realm. All the demons in the Primal Chaos Devil realm hunted them down. The reason why they had so few clansmen was because they were hunted down by the demons. Ping Shi had experienced countless battles, so his combat experience was naturally rich. His every move posed a great threat to Xian Zhu. Why is this guy so strong? Xianzhu became more and more shocked. Ping Shi's battle prowess was too tyrannical. Boom! Bang! The two figures rapidly moved in the sky as a terrifying pressure spread out, causing the entire world to tremble. Pitch black holes constantly appeared in the sky. These holes were formed by the void shattering, and there was even primal chaos chi lingering in them. Alright, after playing for so long, it's time to send you on your way. At this time, Ping Shi suddenly smiled at Xianzhu and said, What? Xianzhu couldn't help being startled. He had a bad premonition. At this moment, an even more powerful energy fluctuation erupted from Ping Shi's body. A shocking killing intent surged out from his body. The temperature of the entire world rapidly dropped. All of the living beings watching the battle were shocked. No one thought that this god race that had crossed over from another realm would actually still have some strength left. He was only using his true strength now. Boom! Ping Shi seemed to have turned into a supreme golden god of war. Dazzling golden light erupted from his body. The golden light illuminated the dusky world, turning the entire world golden. It was as if a golden sun had appeared between heaven and earth. The power of divinity spread in all directions, directly dispersing the gloomy clouds of death that shrouded the holy land of the undead race. The experts of the Dead Spirit clan in the Holy Land were all stunned by this scene. Their divine souls were shaken, and a fear that originated from the depths of their souls surged to their hearts. Bang! Ping Shi immediately executed the godly rock fists. With a single punch, Xianzhu was sent flying. Damn it! Xianzhu was both shocked and infuriated. His opponent's battle prowess had suddenly increased by a large amount. To him, this was definitely not a good thing. It seemed like he had no choice but to fight with his life on the line. Burn your true self! Xianzhu roared in rage. His face turned incomparably malevolent as a supreme death energy erupted from his body. In the next instant, he disappeared from the void. Boom! The two fists collided in the void, causing a large area of the void to instantly shatter and be annihilated. A huge black hole appeared in the world. The two figures directly charged into the chaos. Seeing this scene, all the living beings were dumbfounded. These two fellas were going to fight with their lives on the line. However, they had already charged into the chaos and disappeared before the eyes of the living beings. This made the living beings who wanted to watch the battle itch in their hearts. They could not wait to enter the chaos to watch the battle. One must know that a battle of this level was something that all living beings in the Black Demon Sea could only hope for. Naturally, no one was willing to miss out on such a battle. However, the Chaos Void was not an ordinary place. If one's cultivation base was not strong enough, one would be unlucky to enter such a place. At this moment, Gu Fei was getting impatient. These fellas were fighting endlessly, and he did not have the time to wait for a victor to be decided. The three of you stay here and guard the formation platform. If anyone dares to approach the formation platform, kill them without mercy. Gu Fei directly ordered the 3 stone devils. Yes, master. The 3 stone devils hurriedly accepted the order. At this moment, a thunder-like sound suddenly came from outside the island of the dead souls. The death storm had appeared again, and a terrifying aura surged in from outside the island of the dead souls. All the living beings on the island of the dead souls were shocked when they sensed the destructive aura. Swoosh! At the same time, a layer of light screen appeared high up in the sky, enveloping the entire enormous island of the dead souls and isolating the aura from the outside. What's that? The 3 stone devils had just arrived on the island of the dead souls, so they naturally did not know what was happening. This is the death storm. Don't go outside, or else you won't even know how you died. Gu Fei reminded the 3 stone devils. Yes, master. The 3 stone devils naturally did not dare to disobey Gu Fei's words. Moreover, the destructive aura that surged in just now made their hearts palpitate. No matter what was happening outside the island, it was not a good thing for them. After Gu Fei gave his orders, he stood up from the chair and kept the chair. He took a step forward and walked into the cross-border passage, disappearing in an instant. The Chaos Demon Ape and the other 2 stone devils then spread out and formed a triangular formation to guard the formation platform. Some of the living beings of the Black Demon Sea who were eyeing the formation platform did not dare to act recklessly when they saw this. After all, those who had crossed worlds were not weaklings. However, the living beings of the Black Demon Sea were not to be trifled with either. At this moment, the death storm arrived, and huge waves directly drowned the entire island of the dead souls. The wind and waves wreaked havoc, causing the entire island to shake. Ping Jingtian, who was fighting with the Lord of the Dead Souls outside the sacred ground of the Dead Souls tribe, could not help but change his expression when he saw this sudden change. The power of the storm was too strong, and the terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth still spread into the island of the dead souls despite being separated by an extreme formation. Fortunately, the protective formation of the island of the dead souls that was broken by Gu Fei could repair itself, and it had already been repaired. Otherwise, all the living beings on the island of the dead souls would have died when the death storm arrived. While Ping Jingtian was distracted, the Lord of the Dead Souls' palm landed on his right shoulder, and he was immediately sent flying thousands of feet away. Clang! Just as the Dead Souls tribe caught up to him, the sound of a peerless weapon being unsheathed was suddenly heard from Ping Jingtian's body. In the next moment, a golden radiance rushed out from his body. Those were countless rays of golden divine light. Each ray of divine light transformed into a shocking sword rainbow that pierced towards the Lord of the Dead Spirits, who was in pursuit of him. What? Chapter 3309. The death storm of the Black Demon Sea appeared once again. Monstrous waves covered the entire island of the dead souls, and the entire world was filled with a destructive and violent aura. Rumble! The void trembled, and the island's great formation began to operate crazily. The power of the great formation turned into a light shield that covered the entire island of the dead souls. Countless Tao patterns emerged on the light shield, and they intertwined to form a mysterious Tao diagram. Even the extreme formation was shaken by the power of the death storm, and the light barrier that covered the entire island of the dead souls was constantly shaking. What's going on? The three gargoyles, who had just crossed over, naturally had no idea what had happened. Even Ping Jingtian and Ping Shi were shocked beyond words. The destructive aura that filled the world made Ping Jingtian and the others' hearts palpitate. Soon, they received an answer from the Golden Rock Goddess. The death storm would erupt from time to time in the Black Demon Sea. The death storm could destroy everything, and only the islands protected by the extreme formation were spared. Otherwise, the death storm would have destroyed the islands immediately. There's actually such a thing. Ping Jingtian and the others were shocked. The Black Demon Sea was actually so dangerous. It seemed that it was safer to stay on the island. If they were to go out and encounter such a storm, there would only be one outcome: death. Kill! At this moment, Ping Jingtian, who had been pushed back by the Lord of the Undead Spirits, let out a furious roar and directly displayed the golden rock sword light. A powerful, chilling sword aura erupted from Ping Jingtian's body. Clang! The golden sword chi erupted from Ping Jingtian's body like a peerless Tao weapon being unsheathed. It instantly soared up to thousands of meters and pierced through the Lord of the Dead Souls' body. What? The Lord of the Dead Souls was shocked to see this. The speed of the opponent's sword light was so fast that he had no time to dodge it. Roar! The Lord of the Dead Souls roared, and a ball of death light immediately emerged from his body. The golden sword chi pierced the ball of death light around the Lord of the Dead Souls' body, but it could not break through the ball of light that emerged from the Lord of the Dead Souls' body. However, the ferocious collision still sent the Lord of Death's spirits flying 1,000 feet away. Swoosh! Ping Jingtian's silhouette flickered as he used his golden rock extreme speed to catch up with the Lord of Undead Spirits in an instant. 2 golden wings appeared on his back and turned into a dazzling heavenly blade that slashed at the Lord of Undead Spirits. The heavenly saber was extremely sharp. The golden saber light tore through the void and slashed at the top of the Lord of Undead Spirits' head. It looked like it was about to split the Lord of Undead Spirits in half. On the peak of a mountain in the central region of the Chaos Demon realm, a powerful wave of energy erupted from the mountain peak, and a golden figure walked out from the endless golden light. That was Tsang Quebec. He directly cast a great technique, and the ancient formation platform immediately surged with lines of formation runes, interweaving into a mysterious and unfathomable formation diagram. The formation on the formation platform was operating rapidly, and the energy waves that erupted from the teleportation formation platform of the Stone Demon clan were constantly increasing. In the end, boom! With a loud sound, a ball of divine light shot up from the formation platform, directly shattered the void, and rushed into the endless void of chaos. A passage appeared between heaven and earth. Roar! At the moment when the passage was formed, an earth-shattering roar was immediately heard from the space passage on the teleportation formation platform. Seeing this scene, all the creatures on the mountain peak were extremely shocked. Could the end of the cross-border passage be a barren land? However, the end of the cross-border passage should not be a barren land, because the end of the cross-border passage was an incomparably terrifying ancient battlefield. After you? Gu Fei looked at Song Ke and said. He was the one who proposed to take the path of the Stone Demon clan, so naturally, he would be the first to take the lead. Moreover, Seng Ke had already been to that battlefield once. Seng Ke had no choice but to bite the bullet and step into the cross-border passage above the teleportation formation platform. In an instant, he disappeared without a trace. The demonic rock lady did not step into the cross-border passage to the ancestral god realm, because this place needed an existence of the demonic rock lady's level to stand guard. If she did not guard the two ancient teleportation formation platforms, the experts of the Stone Demon clan and the Willow Demon clan would have long attacked. Gu Fei did not think too much about it. He directly rushed into the cross-border passage, and soon disappeared inside. He crossed the boundary, and the scenery around him changed rapidly. After an unknown period of time, he felt his eyes light up, and when he looked around, he was immediately shocked by what he saw. Gu Fei saw that he was standing on a mountain of bones, and the entire heaven and earth was shrouded in a terrifying murderous aura, and there were bones everywhere. In the past, countless living beings had fallen here and turned into countless bones. At this moment, Gu Fei realized that Seng Ke was standing on a nearby mountain peak, looking into the distance. He hurriedly rushed down from the mountain of bones and came to Seng Ke's side. Gu Fei followed Seng Ke's gaze, and saw a huge figure walking in the valley ahead. It was a giant beast. Roar! The gigantic beast in the valley let out a long roar towards the sky,